I think.
Back here at
Back
the
live.
virtual world. Back here at the Virtual World Center of Racing at Daytona. Still working on some things behind the scenes. One thing we're not seeing is hopefully no blinking anymore. Welcome back to the Digital Racing Sports Network and coverage of the VP Racing 500 from Daytona, presented by Marathon Movers. Coverage on DRSN. I'm Wesley Outland. Lim Ervig is alongside. And, of course, Chris Murphy, the man behind the buttons, handling production. Apologize for those technical woes, but I think we are back up and going. Hopefully we're back on the air. Then we are back to racing. Field will come back to the green flag, and right now we've had caution after caution during our technical delays to get back on the air. Liam, hopefully we will, not have any more issues, but also the yellow flags have only completed 27 of 50 laps in stage one.
Yeah, we've still got just under half of this second stage coming our way, and it looks like everything's looking good. Looks like audio's sounding good, so we should be able to communicate with our friends here on the YouTube as well. We appreciate everybody who's tuning in here and kind of, whatever the word is, trickling over here from the other stream. Had some, putting up with our technical difficulties, and definitely appreciate you guys sticking with us here. We've got an incredible show coming your way. I believe this is caution number 3, so that graphic on the top is going to be incorrect. We had a caution early on where I believe the 48 got into the back of Tristan Bruce, got him turned up into Jeff Merck. That caused a kerfuffle down the back straightaway to bring out the caution. Buster Malcolm is also out of the race along with Larry McDonald.
Yep.
James Waring, Jason Dismore, Tristan Bruce, William Britton. Drivers involved in incidents so far. It's been a fun one so far. It's been eventful so far, and we are really looking forward to being able to bring the rest of this to you after such a fun pre-race show and everything that we had lined up for you.
Yeah, Chris Murphy says that he's going to throw a monitor out the window if things go wrong again. But the hamster on the wheel is working perfect right now, so just keep him fed, and I think he'll be okay. Let's get ready for the restart now, as we are, by the way, just shy of about 60 miles here in stage number 1. 50 laps the distance, 28 of 200 laps right now in the VPR 500 on DRSN. Matthew Baker from Texas will lead the field back to the United Rentals restart zone. Dylan Jones on the outside flank. Cody Nichols and Sam Horse make up row number 2. Charlie Morgan, and you see the rest of the scoring ticker down below or up top. The admin box top 10 always showing when the green flag flies, and that is Ryan Bailey 6, Michael Triscaro, Jackson Bice, and Zachary King, with Michael Barksdale in the top 10 right now. 4 Chevrolets, 4 Toyotas, and 2 Fords in the top 10. Green flag goes back in the air, and we're ready to go back to racing again. It'll be lap number 28 of 200, and just about halfway shy here in stage 1. Baker gets a great launch. He'll pull away, but don't look out behind you though, Lim, because when he does that, it opens up a big pack of traffic going after him in turn 1.
Huge pack of traffic here, and these guys are back to full song. See that 51 making a move. That's Zachary King. He moved up in front of, I believe that was 60. No, sorry, that wasn't the 60. That was the 00 out there of Michael Barksdale. Going into turns 3 and 4, and we're still kind of seeing a little bit of that Blinky McGee action, so we'll try to close up some shots or something, make this a little bit more bearable. Racing up front, though, Matthew Baker continues to lead. They've got 4 of them single file out before a side-by-side battle for 5th. And you see the 6th of Hurst trying to move his way up, and now here comes. There's Jackson Bice trying to make it 3 wide up on the top side. Expect that out of him, and now he moves back down to the bottom. Here comes the 34 up to the top again, and we're 3 wide. Once again, down the back straightaway.
We're going to try to stick this thing out, my friend. If you're listening on the radio on 87.9 FM, the community radio network as well, right now in the VPR 500, they're coming to the line, and we got trouble. A couple of cars get sideways. They lose control and smack the outside safer barrier spinning. Big number of cars involved as finally let the accident clear. You're seeing some of these cars that have crashed. Daniel Falkingham looks like he's one of them. So is also the 21 car. That is Nick Herbert. Yeah, there's a host of cars involved in this thing, and we're under yellow flag for, again, the 5th caution of this race. Remember, we had to reset the server, and we still got some blinking issues, but we just had a pretty big wreck there in the corner. Remember, also, there's no fast repair in this race tonight, Liam.
Yeah, no fast repair, so these guys really want to try to keep their noses clean, and there's heavy damage on the front of Mason Olney. He's going to need some extended repairs. Some other guys jumping straight to the pits. Carson Freeman was one of them. Mitchell Raridan jumped to the pits. A couple of guys with some very severe damage that they weren't able to bring it back to pit road, bringing out the caution once again here at Daytona.
Out again here for the, if you're keeping track, 5th time of the opening 30 laps of this race. We had caution right out of the gate. I mean, literally on the opening lap, first 2 laps, the yellow flag. Some of those technical issues we're working on. I know Chris Murphy and the folks with DRSN working behind the scenes with Lim and myself to keep the show on the air. We're trying our best, our due diligence, to not only fix the technical woes, but to give you a very professional broadcast. As again, we want to say thank you to Marathon Movers for sponsoring the VPR Daytona 500. We will move it for you. Big sponsor again for this event, Brandon Broadfoot. And don't forget about the Variety Pack Racing Series competing every Thursday night. Join the Discord channel, find out more information, and of course contact Brandon Broadfoot directly or DRSN if you want to be able to keep up with the coverage of all the other great things going on with the Digital Racing Sports Network. Hit subscribe, like, subscribe, and follow on the Digital Racing Sports Network for not only the VPR 500, for this great Sim Race of America's coverage of tonight, but other great broadcasts, dirt, pavement, late models, NASCAR, Cup, trucks, you name it. It's on the Digital Racing Sports Network. Well, Lim, Matthew Baker up 39 spots, my friend, and the driver from the Lone Star State of Houston, Texas, is now having the opportunity to lead here as we're closing in on 18 to go in stage 1.
We talked in the duels about how important track position was going to be, but it wasn't going to be quite as much as, you know, like a road course or something like that. You are going to have these opportunities where drivers jump the field, and Matthew Baker's one of them, making up a lot of spots here. Made that pit stop on lap number 5, stayed out this time, along with Dylan Jones, Cody Nagels, and Michael Triscaro. Ryan Bailey, the first driver who came in under this most recent, or under the lap 22 caution, I should say. He's up in 5th place. The driver who came in under this most recent caution is John Ward, running in 18th place right now.
Solid drive right now for these guys is, again, Matthew Baker will be ready to bring the field back to the green flag. Also, another thing to think about for the top 10 in the 9 positions up front, none of those drivers have come down to the pit lane. Outside the top 10 is obviously Cameron Craighead as well, has not pitted yet. Everyone else has pitted at least one time or more, multiple times for guys back with damage and whatnot. Remember, no fast repair in this event for the VPR Daytona 500 presented by Marathon Movers. So if you get damaged, you have to go on the damaged vehicle policy, iRacing style, and there's a damage clock, and it takes time to fix those cars. Now, is there not a time limit? You can use as many time as you want. That's not allotted. Yes, but it takes time to fix repairs, and in doing so, you fall laps down, Lim, and you lose your opportunity to try to win this race. Lights off on the pace car, my friend. We'll be looking to come back to green next time by.
See these guys get doubled up once again. Going to be 33 laps complete when they come and take the green flag. Matthew Baker, he's got Dylan Jones to his outside. Cody Nagels, Michael Triscaro, and Ryan Bailey. Then Jackson Bice, Michael Barksdale, Chase Mastretta, Justin Melikar, and J.R. Miller rounding out your top 10. Numerous drivers involved in that last caution still on pit lane or back on pit lane. William Britton, we talked to him in the pre-race. A tough break for him, along with Daniel Falkingham, Mitchell Raridan, Jacob Booth, and Carson Freeman, who is, all of those guys are in the pits taking repairs. They've got the meatball flag after that last incident, and unfortunately, like you said, that's going to take some time. There's not an allotment of time to kick you out of the race, but it can definitely take you out of contention.
Well, you're exactly right, as they'll work their way down the back straightaway. And I'm understanding that we are slowly trimming the fat. I'm understanding now of the 46 starters, 34 are all that remain because of accidents that we showed you during the opening stage of the race, or drivers that were involved in accidents while we were having technical difficulties. On behalf of Chris Murphy and everybody with the Digital Racing Sports Network and the Variety Pack Racing Series, we do apologize for that inconvenience of technical woes, but sit back, relax, and enjoy the remaining 175 laps of the VPR 500. Lights off on the pace car. The field will get ready to settle them up, Joe, for the restart. Back heading towards that United Rentals restart zone as the pace car ducks onto pit lane. Both of these drivers up 30 spots to the front row. Matthew Baker, Dylan Jones, Bowtie, Ford Oval, coming back to green as we go back underway. Here as we approach 15 laps to go, Liam, in stage number 1. They're back in turn 1.
Flag into turn number 1, and Matthew Baker, he's got himself a car length lead over that car behind him. That's Nagels. A little bit more than you want. It's not going to be super detrimental as now he moves up to the outside trying to get in front of a teammate. It's going to work out in his favor in terms of having a partner, but Nagels is going to be able to nose out in front for the lead for just a moment. Here comes Jackson Bice up to the outside trying to get help from Carson Craighead. Cameron Craighead, my bad.
Yeah, that's fine. No problem. And everybody, I'm understanding we got a backup plan if there is any more technical issues, if we have to go offline again. Hopefully keep your fingers, legs, eyes, toes crossed. We don't have that problem. As right now, Matthew Baker leading the way. But if we do have another problem, we will go off air and reset on another network location. Right now, though, everything holding on is Matthew Baker trying to hold off Jones. They work their way on the high side. Keep an eye on that battle. Dylan Jones, Cody Nagels, Dylan Jones, Jackson Bice in the top 5. Michael Triscaro from PGR Esports. Some of the best of iRacing sim sports going at it in the VPR 500. Down into turn number 3, side by side, Lim.
My goodness, these guys are gridlocked closer together than most people cared apart. This is closer together than they were when they were pacing. These guys absolutely try to get the pushes, try to figure out what they can do, and there's a move to the middle. Here comes Jackson Bice to make it 3 wide middle to get behind Matthew Baker. Expect him to shoot out and try to take the lead at any given moment. And down into turn 1 and 2. We got one up into the wall for a moment there. That looks to be John Ward, or no, that was Horst.
Yeah, keep an eye on that green machine falling back, ladies and gentlemen. Sam Horst, the 06 car. There's 2 6 cars up in the pack. One is Cody Nagels. The other one is, again, Sam Horst, and he is free-falling like lyrics to the Tom Petty song, free-falling down into turn number 3. Somehow he holds on with the leader. It's down to the inside. It's Baker closing in on 15 to go here in stage 1. Remember, that'll go to lap number 50, 125 miles. All this goes on as they work their way back into turn number 1.
Back into turn number 1, Jackson Bice holds on to the lead, and he's got Dylan Jones pushing him. This might be where we start to see the outside lane be the more dominant line. We talked with drivers about how the inside lane falls out, it stalls out really easily. It's going to be interesting to see as now we've got to move down to the bottom to cover that. That's going to be the 84 of Melikar. Going to try to take over the race lead with a push from Baker as Bice moves down to block.
All this happening, by the way, as we see Justin Malakar down to the inside. Malakar, yes, sir. Malakar down to the outside. Watch him now try to climb back to the bottom of the racetrack. Comes Baker. Here comes now a big push now. Help from Jones and Baker. Jackson Bice now, 33 to the lead, 13 to go. Toyota now up in front, showing power in turn 1 here in Daytona.
Back to this gridlock position here as we have 13 laps to go here in the first stage. This pack has definitely dwindled down. You see another pack kind of trailing far behind. Those guys are perfectly content with where they're at. Everybody up in this front pack right now is racing for $50 on the stage win. And here comes Cameron Craighead up to the outside. He's going to have help from Cody Nagels.
All this going on as they work now through the corner, coming out of turn number 3 and 4, down through the tri-oval now. It's 18 degrees on the front straightaway. Here they come to the stripe. It's 11 laps to go. Baker, the Texan, battles now, but Cameron Craighead, John Ward, all these drivers climbing 20 spots or more to get to the top shelf in the lead. And right now it's Baker getting a big bump by Craighead in 2.
Huge bump here on the outside. Craighead knows how to push. We saw that in the duel. That's going to allow the outside to get 2, 3 cars maybe cleared as one moves up to the outside. Jackson Bice tries to move up to the outside. No help there. That's going to be somebody to watch every single time they're double wide. He's going to take every run he can get. As now look at that 13 sucking up to the draft. That's James Waring trying to close in on this outside lane.
Going on now as they work their way, of course, back across the tri-oval. Another lap completed as we close in. There's a look at your admin box top 10 with 10 laps to go in stage number 1 of the VPR Daytona 500 presented by Marathon Movers. Baker in the lead, Craighead second, Ward third, Nagels, Triscaro now flip-flopping up the scoring pylon. They're trying to play high or low as they work the back straightaway. Craighead looking for the lead in 2.
Craighead trying to take it here, but falls back in line behind Baker. Looks like he's just trying to poke that nose out, keep that air to the front end. Oh, we got problems. The 13 gets turned in turns 3 and 4. Sean Corbett's involved. The 17 gets a piece.
So the yellow flag will come out of the racetrack. Another car involved. I think Dylan Pickelsheimer is off the race course, but the biggest trouble, worse for wear, is James Waring.
Pickelsheimer just did some dirt tracking over the big hump on the inside of turn 4. My goodness. Looked like that thing was going to turn over for a moment as he goes all the way down to the grass trying to avoid that crash.
So if there's any improvement, the only time that we go blinking is when all hell breaks loose, when there's a caution on the racetrack. Yellow flag is out for, of course, I think the 6th time now here in the VPR 500 at stage number 1. We're under 10 remaining. Less than 25 miles in stage number 1 to go. And, of course, we might have to paint a picture in radio because we are live on CRN. Lim, before everything went blinking on the broadcast, what did you see happen, obviously, to the 13, Pickelsheimer and others?
Yeah, it looked like it was potentially in the middle of a 3 wide there. Let me see if I can try to...
Yeah, I think it was Pickelsheimer, James Waring, and some other cars involved in that accident there. So, yeah. Yeah, they're telling us if we try to show the replay, it'll be blinking as well. So our buddy's going to have to paint like a radio style of what happened. He caught it more perfectly than I did. So, yellow flag flew and they start blinking, but at least when they were racing, they were, staying in tune. So, yeah.
Trying to get an angle here, getting into turn 3. Looks like we're going to see the 13 move up the racetrack a little bit. He actually just got loose on entry and corrected it back up, swung back down the track, and unfortunately came down in front of the 82 of Johnston. That contact sent the 13 back up into the racetrack in front of the 45 and the 33 of Corbett and Olney, respectively. And with that, I believe the 17 of Winkler got a piece of it as well. Tristan Bruce does some dirt tracking to avoid it. And so does Dylan Pickelsheimer. He got sideways and went all the way down the racetrack, bouncing up and through some of that grass.
There's 10 laps to go here in stage 1 of the VPR Daytona 500. It is Matthew Baker still leading them as we approach the end of the first stage, but still a long way to go in the great sim race of America.
We now pause for station identification.
under 7 laps to go in stage number 1. As the field comes back to the United Rentals restart zone. Everybody, we're still having some more technical woes. We're going to try to fix something, but we're going to get to the end of the stage first. Hopefully, no more cautions, at least for the restart. Cameron Craighead, Matthew Baker up the outside, banking 31 degrees. It greets those drivers, and they're stride for stride. The first 2 rows, Liam, heading your way in turn number 2.
Green flag back in the air, and these guys are dead even. Matthew Baker Craighead going side by side here, and having some problems on mine here. My bad.
Okay.
Side by side down the back straightaway, moving up the racetrack. There was a green car making an aggressive move. But Matthew Baker continues to lead. He's got a push from Nagels. Here comes Craighead on the inside, though. Cameron with a huge push from that 34, Michael Triscaro.
Yeah, Triscaro from the PGR 500 stables there again, working down to the tri-oval. And look at this now. Triscaro trying to make it now a 3-car battle for the lead. Cody Nagels up the outside. He's got a big push there with Malakar. All this going on as we watch these guys continue to set their sights after Baker. It seems like it's a PGR esports affair up in the front row as we watch Baker now lead them on the outside into 3.
Into turn number 3, yeah, these guys 3 wide almost for a second as the 0-11 thought about making it there. That's Dylan Jones. There's some 3 wide action behind him, and guess who's in the middle of it? Jackson Bice.
Watch that 33. That's going to be Jackson Bice, as you mentioned, trying to get back up into this battle again. He's climbed back into the top 10. And there's a little wiggle. There's some contact. Keep an eye on the 10 of Ryan Bailey. He got a little loose there for a moment. And then we're going to try to go 3 wide. Are we going to go 4 wide? No, we will not. Bice got through the block on from the Advanced Auto Machine. All this now stops that momentum, trying to get a 3rd lane going as they work the back straightaway with Baker still in front. 5 to go in stage 1.
5 laps to go here to decide $50. And Matthew Baker continues to lead it, but this 3 wide action up on the top side. You see one getting down on the apron. That's the 10. He's going to check up the inside lane just a little bit and give the outside more momentum. Here comes Nagels looking up to try to block that. He's going to have help from Malakar behind him. Going to be a little bit of contact, a little bit of squirreliness, and this is a really sketchy spot to get squirrely right there in the tri-oval here at Daytona. Only 18 degrees of banking there, and really lightens up the rear end of your race car there, Wesley.
You're exactly right, buddy. It's all about the money, honey. And right now, we watch these guys work their way down into the corner, 3 wide. Look at now Matthew Baker. He can't block all the lanes at once, but he will darn sure try. He stays locked to the middle lane. He's the knife through butter. Everybody else now working high, working low. Look at the advance or the AutoZone car climbing up there. Keep an eye on Ethan Eckert. He's got friends. He's on the top shelf. He's working to the line. 3 to go now in stage 1 as they work off 4.
Coming to the line, Baker still holding on to that race lead. He's been doing a pretty good job trying to play the Pied Piper, but that number 12 AutoZone machine is looking stout behind him. Ethan Eckert trying to get himself a push out in front of that inside lane, maybe to try to take this one for himself.
Continuing to watch all that again as they shuffle, slice, and dice down the back straightaway, if you will, and a little blinking to boot down the back stretch. Lap traffic up ahead. Matthew Baker, he gets a shot from the Eckert machine. Keep an eye on Ethan Eckert. He goes low. Baker keeps high. He's got friends, though. Keep a push. Jackson Bice all the way from the top 10, about 2 laps to go, is fighting now for the stage win. Eckert powers through on the bottom. He's got the lead. They're coming to 2 to go. 5 miles left in stage 1 off 4.
See that lap car up on the outside. He's going to stay right out of the way. Ethan Eckert continues to lead this race, but Jackson Bice strong on the inside. He's got a big push from Malakar to try to take this race lead, getting into turn number 1 as the 3rd lane starts to formulate once again. I believe is being led now by the 69 machine.
And look at this now, crazy, chaotic racing. We're getting 3 and 4 wide, if you will. They're getting impatient here, Liam, and we'll see what happens with these guys diving into the corner. Up high, Baker now gives a shove to Eckert. Eckert jumps up in front. Here comes Craighead. He's got help from Ward. Nagels will follow. Baker will now join it. They bounce off the wall. Is it's going to be Craighead? Somehow stays in speed, gets around Eckert. 1 to go here in stage 1 as they cross the line.
Baker holding on to this lead, and here comes Craighead down to the bottom. Aggressive move. Might have slipped himself off the bumper of that 12 and gotten himself swirling. No help up top as now the 92 of John Ward moves outside and leaves Matthew Baker out to dry. Jackson Bice tries to get behind Baker as the top side, or the middle side, and the bottom side converge for a moment. Here comes Baker moving up to the top. It's blocked by the 12 of Eckert. Eckert moves up to the lead, and he's got help behind him.
They go 3x3 behind them. Eckert now gets a great big shot in the shorts from Matthew Baker. Blocking is Baker on Bice. Bice now jumps out of line. 3, 4 wide behind him. There's contact. Cars are spinning to the bottom of the apron. Meanwhile, Ethan Eckert's going to come to the line, and he will win stage number 1. Chaos, mayhem coming off of turn 4 for stage 1 in the VPR 500. And it was all for $50. The Auto Zone. Get in the zone number 12 of Ethan Eckert is going to pocket stage number 1 in the Ford. Second place to Matthew Baker. Jackson Bison, what a crazy move there. Ethan Eckert, the push he needed to win stage 1 at Daytona there.
Absolutely phenomenal stuff. Racing that final lap for everybody. Ethan Eckert's going to come home with $50 in his pocket. That was Dylan Jones that we saw get turned sideways coming up off of turn number 4. Made some contact with the inside wall with that left front.
By the way, if you're doing the math, this is only 50 laps of 500 miles. 50 laps is 125 miles, so a quarter distance of the inaugural VPR Daytona 500. The Great Sim Race of America still has 3 quarters left to go. And again, big thanks to Marathon Movers for sponsoring it. So if I'm understanding correctly, we are getting ready to change server locations for our broadcast stream. So everybody stay right here on this link. When we go to a break, when we come back, we're going to make that switch, and then we hopefully will be able to have a much better connection for this broadcast coverage. But again, it is Ethan Eckert winning stage number 1. I know we're getting ready to go to break here when our producer tells us to, Liam, but man, what's your take of the first 50 laps of this race so far?
This has been absolutely incredible stuff. These guys are giving it everything that they've got. Sometimes a little bit too much. And we've seen some caution flags, but now that we're finished here with stage number 1, these guys have kind of gotten their P's and Q's minded. And
yeah, seven, counting it, my friend. 7 caution flags, not counting this one for the end of the stage break, has come out in the first 50 laps, 125 miles. We're taking a break on the Digital Racing Sports Network. We're changing broadcast servers. If he could share his screen, that'd be better for me for sure.
Yeah. All right. You sure you're the Discord for him?
Green flag back in the air, and we are ready to roll here. Hopefully, we've got these things figured out on our end. Looks like Jackson Bice is going to take over the race lead as we start stage number 2. Big push from the 6 of Cody Neagles.
And by the way, this is stage number 2, and it'll go 125 laps. This will take us all the way to lap 125 as they work their way through 3 and 4. I've got an echo in my head, Liam, but I can deal with it if I have to, if you're saying everything sounds okay. I can't even hear him.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out. I'm sorry. Mute my stream. Mute what I shared to you, and then we should be all right. Cody Neagles.
Just do that. Mute that. Okay. All right. I can do that.
Sideways moment there for the 8 machine coming up off of turn number 2. That's Chase Mastretta. He's going to be able to continue on, but Sam Horst takes over the race lead.
Yeah, all this going on is Sam Horst all night now. Get some company from Cody Nagels.
Oh,
and they make contact. They're up into the outside wall. Cody Nagels, Sam Horst, and it now collects some other cars. Trouble. More cars involved as they pile in. More cars coming from the top of the racetrack to the bottom, and they scatter behind them as we go under the yellow flag. Calamity continues here in Daytona for the start of stage 2, Liam.
Yeah, let's try to see if we can get a look at what happened there. Try to see if these replays do work for us. Big one here in turns 3 and 4.
And we'll try to get a replay here for those that are asking what just happened. We're still working on technical things on our end, and we're still making the best of it. As the yellow flag is out over the racetrack, there's a caution right at the beginning of stage number 2. And obviously a scare for a lot of these cars as they work their way back around under the yellow flag and the start of this one. Remember, by the way, stage number 2 is going to take us all the way to lap number 125. Again, just after this will be past halfway, lap 125. And that, of course, will be the final stage for 75 laps to set us up for that 200-lap distance. Says, looking at I think we're trying to look at a replay. Maybe not. Cody Nagels is actually the guy that still leads the way. Anybody coming to pit road? Yes, guys behind the top 2 are deciding to make pit stops here.
Appreciate everybody tuning in with us and bearing with us here for the Daytona 500 here. A lot of guys coming into the pits. The top 5 stay out. That's going to be Nagels, Baker, Craighead, Olney, and Triscaro.
Yeah, pretty much about 25-plus drivers just came down to the pit lane, as you just mentioned, Liam, and all these guys obviously taking advantage because if you remember, they pitted on lap number 51 at the end of stage number 1. And, of course, now everyone else coming down to the pit lane around lap number 56, 57. Topping off, if you will, Joshua McCullough and others exited off the pit lane. And we will get ready to try to go for another restart, a caution field race here in stage number 1. Stage 2 has been filled with yellow flags as well, but nonetheless the racing rolls on, and we continue to press on DRSN as well. As there's a look again on a replay, you'll see what happened here. And Liam, you've got a good spot of it hitting the replay button. What'd you see?
Yeah, it looked like Seth Horst in the 7 or the 6 got a bad push there, and that's going to get him turned sideways. Try to slow it down here a bit. Yeah, he's going to get that left rear. He just got in the left rear, turned him down, turned him back up, and unfortunately the 69 caught up in that as well. They come down, collect Jackson Bice. And there's numerous cars piling in behind. The two you see, Christian Rhodes getting a piece of that. There's some more. Sean Corbett, he's still in the pits, I believe. Charlie Morgan in the 69 went around.
Jerry Bice cheering on Jackson Bice right now on the racetrack. He was making some big noise at the end of stage one. He's fell back inside the top 25 and 23rd right now. And there is a look at some of those cars that are getting away from the accident, if you will. We'll try to reset for a restart as Cody Nagels, Cameron Craighead now alongside on the front row, as we'll try to set back up for a restart in this race. Again, yellow flag out for, if you're keeping track, I think it's the 7th time now the yellow flag has flew, as Cody Nagels, Matthew Baker make up the front row. Cameron Craighead, Mason Olney are now a couple of new drivers that we've not mentioned. All these drivers with Triscaro, Malachar, Ward, Bruce. Look at Tristan Bruce, by the way, involved in an accident at the start of the race. Rallied, got damaged, fixed it, got involved in an accident with Jeff Merck there, Liam, but he has worked his way back on the racetrack on the lead lap, and he's in the top 10 and 8th as we get ready for a restart.
Yeah, getting ready, doubled up here down the back straightaway, and we've already got a lot of guys with some damage here. A lot of guys making pit stops under this most recent caution here on lap number 58.
Get ready for a restart as we watch these guys now. Cody Nagels, Matthew Baker, Cameron Craighead. Still, honestly, I can't pinpoint or say this is the guy, right, Liam? I can't say this is the one to win the race right now. Obviously, big thanks to Chris Murphy and Liam Ervig, myself, Wesley Outland, joining you. I know we had some technical issues, but we're pulling through as best as we can on the Digital Racing Sports Network. Pace car will get ready to drop on to the pit lane as we approach 150 miles in 500 miles for the VPR Daytona 500, presented by Marathon Movers. Through the gearbox, back inside the United Rentals restart zone. They cross the stripe, green flag back in the air. It's Craighead. He gives a big burst of momentum to Cody Nagels. Nagels from Colorado, from the windy, from the Mile High State, working now. Everybody into the inside in turn one.
And I'm going to jump in here for me and Liam. Going to switch roles. Chris Murphy here jumping at you with Wesley. Cody overturned, got to crash about 10 cars back. I'm not quite sure who that was, but we got another car around. It looked like I'm thinking it was either James Waring again involved. Multiple cars now at this point. I see the 35 down there. That is Mason Olney.
Guys, they're saying Mason Olney was the cause of the caution, Chris. They're going to call the yellow flag on lap 59 for Mason Olney and the yellow flag. What a tough break for this guy, Chris. The WeatherTech 17 Chevrolet had worked all this way up to the front. First time we mentioned his name into the top 10, and now he's in a wreck accident on the back straightaway.
Yeah, Hunter Winkley trying to wake his way up. You can see the damage there on the right front of the car. Ethan Eckert down on the bottom, 22 there, Brandon Broadfoot, but it looked like it was started out there with Mason Olney. He was turned around there on the bottom. The 35 was hoping for a really good run here today, but unfortunate for him. You can see the heavy damage on the right front of the 35.
Trying to set up a replay for you, I believe. Keep your eye on that, and we'll get ready to show you what happened here. As we see drivers on pit road, here's a look at it again. As boy, well, look at this, Chris. The 51 and the 35 gave each other a little push and assist. That's Zachary King, and the help from the 35 gave him a little assist to correct and keep going forward from Mason Olney. And then Olney in the Mobil 1 entry got the short end of the stick and then spun here at the bottom of the apron to put us under the 8th caution of the VPR 500, my friend.
Yeah, it looked like it may have been a little bit of contact there with the 35 and the 00. Michael Barksdale that might have started that right, but the 51 did get involved for sure. A little bit of contact there, but unfortunate there for Olney and also for Barksdale. We'll take another look here. You can see Barksdale coming up behind the 35 and just gets into that left rear quarter, turns him around off of 2. That started it. Barksdale, it didn't look like Olney came down the racetrack. I think Barksdale just kind of mistimed where he was on the racetrack at that point.
Yeah, we're looking at it again here as we watch these beautiful looking race car. Cody Naegels, by the way, leading the field onto pit road. It looks like they are going to commit to making pit stops, obviously, as we do see these guys come in, and this really shakes up. I'm surprised, honestly. We're lap 60. Less than 25 miles ago was the end of the stage, and now 10 laps later, as Chris, we're seeing drivers come down the pit lane, and I don't think they're worried about tires. It's more about filling up the tanks on these cars, and there you see it. Cody Naegels, fill up, stop, fuel and go. He's gassing, going, and back on the racetrack.
Yeah, 61 laps into the race. I'm just going to top off right here. I mean, you can go so many laps here at Daytona without changing tires, but it looks like Nagel's going to have a good stop. He is going to beat the race off a pit road.
Right now, of course, if you're watching on DRSN, we have changed up roles. My buddy Liam Ervig is working on production, and Chris Murphy. Chris, hold your head high, man. I know that a lot of people don't realize, and I say this myself because I'm a guy that's normally in front of the camera or working play-by-play or on the air, and I've always said this, whether it's virtual or reality, people do not realize the production, the work, and the labor, the heart. And I know that you wanted to really put up a great broadcast. The duels were fun. I want to say thank you, by the way, for letting me join you for the first time on your DRSN broadcast platform with you and Liam. Thank you, by the way, for working through my crazy rain delay weather race announcing schedule today. And obviously, we're making the best of it, and that's sometimes the best thing you can do in the end here.
Yeah, we're really welcome. Thank you to Brandon Broadford for inviting us into here for VPR 500. We tried to put everything together we could to make this as good as possible. To be honest with you, I don't even know what was causing the problem right there. We have spent so much effort and time to put this together, and unfortunately, sometimes just the bugs kind of come out of the woodwork. But fortunately, Liam able to jump in there. We're going to switch roles here. Liam is one of the best producers out there, so he's going to take control of the reins right there. Going to let me do some talking for a little while. But, Wesley, I know you thanked us for being here, but thank you for being here with us. It's already been a lot of fun, and we're not even halfway through this race.
We're not. We're only one quarter of the way through here. By the way, if you're keeping up with the track, we're 60 laps, and that's 150 miles of the race. That's of course. Now I know we ran 50 lap, 125 mile qualifier races this morning. That kind of reminds me of the old Gatorade Twin 25s, right? That was pretty cool to see that. But obviously, in today's NASCAR, they run, of course, twin duels at 150 miles, 60 laps, and we have passed that mark right now. Phil, to get ready to come back to the green flag, as Chris Murphy said. If you just saw on the screen a moment ago, some of the lap leaders, drivers that are climbing and what laps they've led. As we're going to be A-OK, guys. I just said a prayer to the virtual gods above. Hopefully we're going to be able to get this thing in. As Dylan Pickelsheimer, by the way, ready to bring the field back to green in the 33. Corey Powell on the outside of the front row. Cody Naegels, Tristan Bruce, Junior Miller right now the top five. Triscaro, John Ward, Matthew Baker, Justin Mullicar, and Cameron Craighead, your top 10. And as we get ready green for the restart in green, Chris, look at the scoring ticker, and I'm looking with obviously the other great stuff behind the scenes for us. 20, 30-plus positions. A lot of these guys, 8 in the top 10 have climbed to work their way into the front top 10 of the admin box top 10 when we go back to green.
Yeah, some of these drivers having problems with the duels earlier, but able to work up to the front. It's kind of like we talked in the pre-race. It almost doesn't matter where you start here at Daytona. If you can find some friends, you can find your way from the back of the pack to the front. And Picklesmeyer now found his way up here. Pickle Simmer, I guess is the right way to say that. He's up here in the front with Corey Powell, but he's got Neagles and Bruce right there behind him. And look back here about the 8 spot right now. That 5 car, Matthew Baker, is lurking, and he wants to get to the front.
No, I promise you, my friend, it's Dylan Pickelsheimer. I used to announce a race for dirt racing for Neesmith, and there was a guy that lived in Tennessee called Andy Pickelsheimer. His name is spelled the exact same way. So Pickelsheimer ready to bring the field on the front row back to green. Keep an eye on Dylan. Corey Powell back underway. Look at that yellow 33 of Pickelsheimer. He's got a big burst. And how about Tristan Bruce right back up into the top 3, trying to battle for the lead, getting around Corey Powell. Outside lane works, Chris, as they dive into turn 1.
Yeah, Wesley, it's Pickelsheimer to the lead right now. He's got Bruce right there behind him with a good push. Look at the 29 of Powell as well. But here comes Michael Triscaro up on the outside of the racetrack. He had a horrible dual race, getting a lap down, getting involved in a crash. But he has got that outside line humming right now. And here he comes. Oh, the 3-car Bruce sees that outside line coming. He's going to move up the block, and he is going to now move to the lead around the outside of Picklesheimer.
Yeah, look at Triscaro, by the way, a big push there. Trying so hard to get something working outside lane. Here comes now Tristan Bruce from the outhouse at the start of the race, back to the penthouse and back up there in the saddle again. Denver, North Carolina's Tristan Bruce put him up front. Triscaro right now, he'll pull to the inside. He'll look for the lead in turn 1.
Triscaro, PGR Esports, he's going to get down to the bottom of the racetrack. He has got the 6 of Nagels and Matthew Baker right there behind him. You could not have two better drivers pushing you to the front. Triscaro, it looks like the 33 of Bryce going to go down to the bottom of the racetrack underneath the yellow line, but here comes Triscaro, Nagels, Baker now, your top 3.
Yeah, all this happening now as they work down that long 3,000-foot Daytona super stretch, coming back up 31 degrees of bank, and that greets them in 3 and 4. Now they funnel back out of turn 4, down to the front straightaway. That's that 3,800-foot tri-oval at 5 degrees. Here they come, storming to the line. Triscaro, PGR Esports up in front, but not for long. Nagels, Baker, they're right back there as we got 60 to go in stage number 2. That's 150 miles, lap 125, Chris, as they work again out of 2.
Second stage coming up in 60 laps, as you said. Triscaro, Nagels, Baker, Craighead. Now look at J.R. Miller in the 78. He's worked his way up into the top 5. But I'm looking back a little further. I see John Ward in the 7th place in that number 92. He is going to be coming. And Tristan Bruce, who was just now up at the front, is now falling back to 9th. But he is looking for a spot. He took a peek to the inside there, but settles back into line. We are single file here. We have not seen much of this all day.
Yeah, it's actually really good to see something like this going on. It's been some frantic panic racing for the first, 65 laps of this race now. Down into corner number 1, hugging that double yellow line, Triscaro. He's got friends with Cody Nagels from Colorado, Texas Baker, Cameron Craighead, and J.R. Miller right there in the top 5. They're all single file again, working the super stretch out of corner 2.
Yeah, Triscaro found his way to the front of this. He does not want to relinquish that lead. It's Nagels and Baker right there behind him. Yeah, they were single file there, but he's kind of patient right now. Everybody's settled in here. We're 66 laps into this race, still over 140 left to go, and nobody really wants to mistake. Look at the 78 of Miller back there. Also the 62 of Jason Dinsmore. He's found his way up into the top 10. Yeah, not a lot of action going. Nobody really wants to put, we saw in the duels earlier, the outside line was the place to be, but right now everybody else is settled down to the bottom of the racetrack.
All this happens now as they work across the start-finish line, finally beginning to see a little things calmer, if you will, and it really needs to do that. That's been really overboiling the first 150 miles. Maybe things will simmer down, if you will, as like a pot on a stove. Triscaro, Nagels, Baker, Craighead, Miller, right now your top 5. They work single file down the back straightaway. Everybody protects that double yellow line down to the inside. No one jumping out of the line. It's that big red machine, the 34 leading. He'll now look to go to venture up to the banking as they work 3 and 4.
Yeah, Nagels backing off there just a little bit. Probably getting a little bit hot. Backs off as Triscaro, lets the car cool down. He's going to sneak back up there. Now going to give him a push down the front straightaway. Baker's still right back in there. We're 2x2 a little further back in the field, but up in the top about 15 spots now. We're still single filed out. 58 laps left to go in this stage.
Straight away. Look at this move now. Finally, things working at full song, as well as on the broadcast for the Digital Racing Sports Network. Right now, it is Triscaro. He holds on to the lead. They're coming off of a very successful annual PGR Esports 500, the Great American Sim Race. Of course, I want to say thanks to them for helping out with the Nazra family. Brandon Broadfoot, obviously a part of Nazra, and the Variety Pack Racing Series. It's so cool. There's a piece of the pie for everybody, Chris Murphy, even on the broadcast or the sim racing leagues level, and everybody working together just makes everything go so much better. All the while, it is these guys up in front. It's something about Team PGR working to the inside in turn 1 and 2.
Yeah, this whole money racing community right here, PGR Esports, Dagger Pros, MMS, I could, High Gear Racing, all these guys put on these shows right here with Variety Pack Racing as well. They all work together. You see these guys nightly racing with each other. They know each other really, really well, as we talked about in the duels earlier. Michael Triscaro up here with PGR Esports. Oh, we got somebody slowing down on the inside. We got our ninth caution of the race here. Who is that? That is the Justin Johnson in the 62.
Justin Johnson. Oh, no. Beautiful looking race car. That's the driver there. And by the way, some of these drivers are double numbered. And we're under, oh no. Johnson and Rhodes, I'm understanding, also caught up in this as we are under another yellow flag here. Watch the replay. It's coming up here as, well, so much for a steady single file, stay in line, be nice, green flag run. Chris, it goes out the window here.
Yeah, it does. It does go out the window. Everybody was kind of settled in back there. We'll see what happens. You see Rhodes on the. Oh, Rhodes just kind of went up the racetrack. Johnson was there. I just kind of jumped up the racetrack right in front of him. I think Rhodes just kind of mistimed that move, and that's going to take the two around and the 62. The two of Rhodes with enough contact, he had to meatball it and do a just basically a toe into the pits, which is going to cost him about probably 3 or 4 laps at the minimum.
Yeah, what a tough break there is, again, Christian Rhodes in the number 2. Look at that hard hit right there. I'm wondering if we can go on board, Liam, with the driver of the number 2 machine of Christian Rhodes and show you a replay of what it's like in car from that impact. And then Justin Johnson and a couple of other cars had to scatter or make evasive action to try to miss that accident. As that's on board with Justin Johnson here. We're seeing another angle here as we'll show you some more replays of why we're under the yellow flag for the 9th time. Here's on board now with the 2 of Christian Rhodes. Take a listen. What a hit right there in that number 2 machine, the bright yellow car there. Hard hit, probably going to be out for this race. Probably the 62 of Johnson and Rhodes probably going to be out from the damage as we continue to trim the fat for the VPR Daytona 500 here, Chris.
Yeah, we're down to about 28 or 29 cars out of the 43 that started right now. But as it usually works out here, the cream usually rises to the top. But you usually see that in a lot of other races. But at Daytona, it's not always the case. It's not always the case here at the super speedways. Sometimes it's just a little bit of luck and just being in the right place at the right time. And Triscaro's found his way to the point of this race, at the lead of this race right now. But it looks like he might not win the race off the pit road. We're going to see how this shakes out.
Sorry, I couldn't hear him. What'd you say, Liam? Understanding the 48 car has overshot his box. Now, we can hear you, just they can't hear you in the broadcast. I'm used to having a producer in my ear. Understanding that one of the cars overshot their pit box, that is Cameron Craighead. That is a developing story because he was in the top 10, Chris Murphy, and now Cameron Craighead is going to have to go all the way back into the top 25, and so we'll get ready to set him up for the restart.
Yeah, we got about 129 laps left to go. He's got plenty of time to get back up there. Fortunately, it was just a missed pit stop and not anything worse than that. But he's going to fall back through here just a little bit. We got quite a few drivers still in the pits right now. But Triscaro did win the race off pit road. Baker's second, Miller, Nagels, John Ward to the top 5 as we're going to cycle through our pit stops here after our 9th caution on lap 71.
Yeah, and I think this will let us step away. Can we take a quick break real fast, guys? I ain't going to lie to you. I'm going to get something to drink, my friend. I've been announcing races since probably 10:30 this morning, not counting doing basketball and baseball yesterday, and I want us to get something to drink. So we're going to take a rest for just a moment. We're going to take a break to thank our sponsors, and when we come back, we'll get ready for the continuation of the restart of Stage 2. This is the Great Sim Race of America, DRSN coverage of the VPR Daytona 500, presented by Marathon Movers. We're back in just a moment from Daytona. Back here on the Digital Racing Sports Network, lights off on the pace car as the field works their way back in turn number 3 and 4. It's going to be, of course, now Matthew Baker going to have some friends like Michael Triscaro, J.R. Miller, Cody Nagels, first 2 rows. Back in the restart zone, Chris Murphy, green flag back out. We go back to racing in stage 2 here in the 500.
And Triscaro with a little bit of a jump right there. He is going to try to find which line is going to be the best one to get in front of. He slides up the top in front of Baker. He sees Baker coming. He knows he's got the 6 of Nagels back there as well. So Triscaro chooses the top line, leaves J.R. Miller down there on the bottom. But J.R. Miller's not alone. He has got the 92 of John Ward right behind him. And you could not ask for a better pusher than the 92 of Ward, as they're going to get that bottom line organized back up.
Yeah, these guys, of course, will start to shuck and jive down that 3,000-foot back straightaway down to the third turn. Now Matthew Baker gives a shove to Triscaro, or actually, check that. He gives him a shot dead center, gives him a push, a little assist, if you will. Cody Nagels now wants to make it a 3-car fight for the lead. Meanwhile, J.R. Miller piles back on the bottom. He's got the momentum. He's got friends. He'll go to the lead as they work the tribal out of 4.
Miller to the front with Ward right there behind him. Also the 62 of Dinsmore, the 10 of Bailey also getting that bottom line working. I thought that outside would work a little better. We saw it with the duels. But here comes the 34 with Triscaro on the outside, and they're just not able to get organized enough up there on the top, and that bottom line is dominant right now. And as I say that, look at the back straightaway. Here comes Triscaro. Ward sees it coming, jumps up on that outside line. Now he's going to lead.
About John Ward, never count out this cat, the man of the 92 machine, already now up to the outside lane. He is now going to push him. One of these guys from PGR Esports and the MMS Super Speedway Series. You heard me say Super Speedway. He loves these types of racing. John Ward, his Ford, goes to the lead as they work lap 75 next time by in turn 1.
And Triscaro drops to the bottom. He's got Baker. They leave Ward hanging up on the outside. He is going to fall back here to about 4th or 5th. And it's Triscaro, Maker, and Nagels. Those 3 have stayed together. They were running the top together. Now they've dropped down to the bottom. And they've got the 3 of Bruce teamed up there with them as well right there. So that bottom line now is looking to go to the front. Let's see if that outside line can get a little bit of bumping and weaving back there between Miller and the 62. But no harm, no foul. We're going to stay green.
John Ward's now got some company. Here comes the promoter and the man that's created this event, Brandon Broadfoot. He knows how to win in super speedway racing. Quick recap, by the way. First ever career NASRA event in the Cup Series came right before the Christmas holiday in December. And the NASRA Cup Series, where was it at? Talladega. It's just like Daytona, even a little bit bigger. Broadfoot waiting patiently. He's got the Canadian Jason Dinsmore, our friend of the North, pushing him along. Triscaro, though, leads again, up 36 spots. He's got Baker in tow in 2.
A little bit of a late block from Triscaro right there. He went down across the nose of Baker. That was pretty close. But, you know, if you got somebody behind you, Baker says, I'm going to leave you down on the bottom of the racetrack. I want to lead now. The 5 to the point. Nagels in the 6, giving him a big shove on the outside. They leave the 34 hanging on the bottom. The 78 goes with him as well.
50 laps to go when they come to the line this time by. That's 125 miles. That's the distance of the duels that you saw on DRSN this morning and afternoon. Now, the long stretch, it's the big grind. 500 miles is right now. Everybody gets side by side, full speed. Baker to the lead as they climb 31 degrees in turn 1.
Baker likes to be nowhere else but the front, and that's where he's at right now. The PGR Esports number 5 out in front of this race. Nagels, Miller, Bruce trying to get that outside line work, and he has got Ward right there. I'm looking back here a little bit before Craighead, who we saw miss his pit stop on that last yellow flag, is now back up to 9th, so he's making his way back up here in the 48. And look down on the bottom here, not too late, but here comes Chase Mastretta.
Working now off of 3 and 4, and keep an eye on Triscaro, by the way. He's going to poke out a line again. He wants to get back up to the front spot. But, yeah, Chase Mastretta, what a job for him. Chase Mastretta now climbing into the top 10. Right now up 9 positions. Cameron Craighead, by the way, remember, he had an issue overshooting his pit box. We're understanding after the last caution. He has now shook it off. He's now working back into the top 10. Brandon Broadfoot back tonight. That's that big gaggle of traffic right now coming at you at a turn 2.
Go down the back straightaway here one more time into turn number 3. Nagels looks going to get to the outside. He wants to get to the front. He's done pushing Baker, but Miller with a good shove is going to keep the 5 car out in front. But Nagels with that outside run, as we said a couple times now, that outside line was really dominant in the duels. But right now the bottom is really holding on there strong. But Nagels trying to bring along Triscara on the outside. Also the 3 of Bruce, and still back there in the 92 is John Ward, still up there in this lead pack.
What a solid run for these guys as they work their way again back across the stripe. Cody Nagels now with a big bump there from Baker. Triscaro all in line. Miller as well. In no order fashion, here comes that outside lane, led by Tristan Bruce, by the way, involved in an accident with Jeff Merck on the start of the race down the super stretch, but he's rallied, he's worked his way back in the front. He's now got friends with John Ward. His Ford gives him a bump. So is Broadfoot back to 5th, up 16 spots as they go to 3.
Yeah, Baker falls back to 6th after leading this race. Now it's the 3 of Bruce on the outside. And look at the 22 right there. Broadfoot, as you mentioned earlier, now in that outside lane. Oh, 48 of Craig going to look to the outside. He wants to make it 3 wide as we head down through the trioval section. Thinks the better, but tucks back in front of Eckert. And the 48 is going to stay right there in line in the outside. He's about 8th place right now.
What a solid run again as we watch these guys working their way. Tristan Bruce now up against the outside lane. John Ward will follow. So is Broadfoot. So is Craighead. So is Eckert, stage 1 winner. That's the orange and blue. The orange, white, and black number 12 AutoZone machine, stage 1 winner. And look at this, Justin Melikar. And now we got one shooting out of line. The number 10, way below the apron, below the double yellow line. No harm, no foul. Will still stay green flag. That's the driver of Ryan Bailey in trouble. The field race is on, though, through the tunnel turn out of 4.
And Bailey gets a kind of look like maybe an off-center shove right there. Gets loose, goes down the racetrack, comes back on a good rejoin there for Bailey, not coming up there in front of the field and causing a bigger incident. But the 3 of Bruce now is going to drop down in front of Nagels. And you can see this outside line right here, Wesley. What they're doing is you can see they're really not moving too far up the racetrack. They're trying to stay down tucked against those cars on the inside, keep up the side draft. Oh, look at Ward drop down in front of Baker. The 92 is going to fall in the inside line, and we got some shuffling going on up here. Everybody wants to lead this race. There goes a 34 one more time on the outside, and he's got the 92 Ward with a push.
I'm telling you, my friend, what's some awesome camera angles from Liam Kurvig now, and of course Chris Murphy having the chance to join us on the broadcast call. And what great racing we're watching now. John Ward with a push by Triscaro. He now gets a punt there on the outside lane. The field thunders now through the trioval, across the stripe. It's now Tristan Bruce. Look at this awesome camera angle from the start-finish line on DRSN. It's awesome when everything's working great. And right now, the sights and sounds as they rumble Chris into turn number 1. We're battling for the lead as they go in the corner.
We are. And Nickel up on the outside. Baker one more time. That inside line, we haven't seen a lot of 3 wide here lately. And right before that, just about 15 or 20 laps ago, before that stage, we had everybody kind of single filed out, but they are not holding back right now. We're 2 by 2 all the way throughout this field. The 22 of Broadfoot trying to find a way. And look, here comes the 84 of Melikar. He's been out of this race for a while, but he has now shown his way up here in the top 10.
Top 10 for the moment is Cody Nagels, Matthew Baker, John Ward, Tristan Bruce. Michael Triscaro, by the way, just passes Bruce for the top 5 and 4th. Brandon Broadfoot, J.R. Miller, Justin Melikar, Jason Dinsmore from Canada, Corey Powell, your top 10. They're up the banking again in turn number 1.
Up to Baker one more time. The 2 by 2 still up here for the front spots, but Nagel settled in. He's got Baker. They were working together earlier today in the duel, and I see they're working together here one more time. Nagel's Baker down there on the bottom. On the outside, here comes the 92 Award. He wants to get back to the front of this race. Everybody wants to be out in the lead here, even though we've got 43 laps left to go in this stage and about over 120 left, almost 120 laps left to go in this race. Nobody's being patient now. Everybody wants to get to the lead. Look at this, we're almost 3 wide as it looked like Broadfoot took a look to the middle of the racetrack there.
Believe it or not, amongst all the craziness, the cautions, the technical difficulties, and more, we are now nearing 250 miles, about 17 laps away to the halfway mark here in the inaugural VPR 500 from Daytona, presented by Marathon Movers. The Great Sim Race of America roars in turn 2. Cody Nagels from Colorado leads.
Nagel's just out. Sorry about that. Nagel just always wants to be out in front. The 78 of Miller looking up to the outside again here as well. Nagel's just pulling along the 5. Bruce right there as well. The 62 of Dinsmore has got himself. And look, there's the 011 of Jones. We have not mentioned his name in quite a while. He's now worked his way up in about the 8 spot. So Jones had spun around at the edge of the stage. He's now worked his way all the way back up here to the front for the fight for the lead. And there goes Baker to the outside of Nagels.
Right now, look at these guys. Really get organized. 5, 6, 7 rows, 14 cars, side by side, nose to tail, as they work their way now side by side. They're two-stepping. They're do-si-doing. Here we go. Now Baker can't decide whether he wants to go to the top or the bottom. He'll now pull to the inside, open the door to J.R. Miller. Help's coming. Nagels pushing the 5. It's Ward in the 792, pushing the 78. Triscaro and Bruce are licking their chops, ready to pounce on any of these cars, working out a turn 4 to the line.
And look at the 78 of Miller. He got a great push from Ward, but he says, I want to get down to the bottom of the racetrack. He goes down to block off Baker. 92 still up on the outside of Ward. He's got Triscaro with him now, but Miller down there on the bottom of the racetrack. Let's see if he can keep going here on the bottom. But Ward looks pretty strong. He looks stout here on the outside with Triscaro pushing him. We've only got 4 cars on that outside. I think that bottom line is going to take over here as they come down the back road off of turn number 2.
Chris, one of the things I think me and Lim and yourself have missed, and myself as well, and I'm kicking myself, is the weather conditions, by the way. Track temp, 106 degrees, 80 degrees sim temp right now, in clear conditions on Daytona. Triple digits, obviously. That is going to really, really make these tires slippery. Something we'll keep an eye on is green flag pit stops. And as I say that, they're coming down pit road, Chris. Unbelievable. 7 wide entering pit road.
Fantastic. Nobody makes a mistake right there. We see that so many times. Somebody gets on the brakes too hard, spins the car around, and you can see some locking up right there, but nobody really got sideways. And wow, that was fantastic getting on pit road. Let's see who can lead off, but still out on the racetrack, Miller, Ward, Triscaro, and the 62 of Dinsmore. I think you're going to probably see them pit here next time by.
Green flag pit stops ongoing, and look at the race off pit road. It looks like interstate traffic jam in the morning or rush hour in the afternoon. Everybody's got to stay below that double yellow line, as Lim, our producer, is letting us know. Remember, they got to stay there below the double yellow line. They cannot cross onto the race surface until they get to the blue cone on the back straightaway. That's called the blend line. It's in real racing. It's enforced in iRacing. More cars, Chris Murphy, are coming down to the pit lane as we begin to separate the packs here around Daytona.
Yeah, what you see during these green flag stops are going to get everybody broke up right here. It's Triscaro and Broadfoot pitted together. We see Miller, Ward still out there on the racetrack. They have yet to pit. And the 13 of James Warren also right there.
Absolutely. Want to send a big hello to Nathan tuning into the broadcast, watching, of course. And by the way, if you are liking the broadcast coverage of the Digital Racing Sports Network, hit that like and subscribe and keep up with all the coverages. We got a car. I think he hit the wall as more cars are coming down to the pit lane. We stay green, but man, there was one car, the teal green and black car. I thought he hit the wall. I think we're going to stay green, though, as we're seeing this happen on the back straightaway.
It looks like Brandon Broadfoot, as he was getting back out on the racetrack, a little bit of a problem there for the 22. James, we're hearing maybe it's from
Chris,
James
that it was the 13 car. I think we're going to try to find a replay, maybe if we can. It's the 13 of James Waring, I believe, is who it was that almost crashed on the front straightaway as other drivers were making green flag pit stops. While all this goes on, here comes the leaders full speed ahead. It's the Georgia McCullough family. Here they come, couple of Toyotas and Chevrolets. Joshua, Kenneth McCullough, Richard Elliott, Dylan Picklesheimer, Michael Barksdale, the new top 5 with under 75 miles to go. They're in turn number 1.
Yeah, this group right here pitted back on lap 70. The McCulloughs now get their way up to the front. The 02 of Elliott kind of got a provisional in this race. He took the place of Nathan Harper. So we're going to look here. It looks like James Waring right here on the bottom of the racetrack. We'll see what happens to him as he comes up. And it looks like he was coming down for pit road and just caught the back of the 62. Just didn't get woed up enough and just got into the back of the 62 and turned himself around up into the outside wall. I'm surprised there was not a caution.
Thank you. That's what happened. I just caught a glimpse of it, Chris. Great job, Liam, for showing us on the replay what happened there. Again, no caution, and I really believe the reason why it did not trigger a yellow flag for the 10th time, Chris, was because that 13 hit the outside safer barrier of James Warren's Ford, and then he dropped down to the bottom of the racing apron onto the pit lane, and that was, of course, no reason to trigger a caution. All the while, the McCullough family family are in the top spot. McCullough, Toyota, the Joshua, 1. Kenneth McCullough, Chevrolet, 2. Richard Elliott in a Ford. How about the manufacturers right now in the top 3? Oh, and by the way, when I mentioned under 100 miles remaining, it is because we're less than 40 laps to go in stage 2. Remember, that's going to take us, Chris Murphy, to lap 125, even after halfway, as they're working lap 91, this time by at the stripe. And then we're going to have a 75-lap shootout, if you will, to determine the VPR Daytona 500 winner.
I saw somebody shoot up into the wall and the kind of off screen here, but the McCullough is still out in front of this thing, 0-2, and then we got Dylan Picklesmeyer. I don't know why I can't say that name very well, in the 4 spot. And the 00 Barstow, involved in an earlier crash, is now finding his way in the top 5. But again, they pitted way back on lap 70. We're going to see where our leaders, Craighead, pulls that. Looks like he's leading that group that pitted just a few laps ago back there in the 8 spot. And he's got Nagels in the 6.
Yeah, we're continuing to keep an eye on all of this, right, as we are watching the drivers working in the corner. And I'm understanding we're going to step away and take a we're going to step away as green flag pit stops are just about to conclude. We're going to step away and take a break. When we come back, the finish of stage 2 here in Daytona. Be with us. Back in a moment. All right, so we have sound now. All right.
So we are back live here at Daytona VPR 500. We've got 32 laps left to go here in stage number 2. Chris Murphy here with Wesley Outland, Liam Irving doing the 1s and 2s. Now we kind of switched roles, but we are back live.
Yeah, Liam, can you move the graphics? I believe I got all sorts of stuff all over my screen. As nonetheless, we do continue on, my friend. The race rolls on. The McCullough family still continuing to stay up in front, 1 and 2. Richard Elliott, Dylan Picklesheimer up 16 spots. Michael Barksdale in the top 5. And by the way, there's another McCullough member cracking into the top 10. Christopher McCullough right there in that move in 6th. They haven't pitted yet. When will they? Last time they did, lap number 70. They got about another 20 or 25 laps, I think. They're trying to finish this stage before they pit again. Great strategy for this car.
Yeah, great strategy for the McCulloughs. They're all up here 70 laps. Let me see. They pitted 25 laps to go. I think they're going to have to at least pit before this stage is over. I don't think they can go another 31 here to the end of the stage. But the 33 of Picklesheimer right here is still up in this 4th spot. This lead group right here is kind of separating themselves. I'm trying to keep an eye on the gap back to Craighead to see if they are gaining. Looking at the last lap times here, it looks like that second group may be making up a little bit of ground by about a 10th or 2 each lap.
McCullough, Elliott, Picklesheimer, Barksdale. There they are right now. Everybody single file. And by the way, what a shout out for Dylan Picklesheimer. Got involved in an accident earlier, raced on. Look at this guy, the 004, the Goodwrench colors of Christopher McCullough. I know he got wrecked in the duels. What a comeback for this man to quietly, patiently work his way now back into his starting position. He started 6th. He's in 6th. And these guys right now, 7 in line, nose to tail, from the red car to the purple car, and they're playing nice as we head towards halfway, 250 miles in less than 5 laps in the inaugural VPR Daytona 500.
And look at the 22 right there. Brandon Crawford had a good run going just a little bit ago, but he now finds himself a lap down. He is the first car a lap down right now. If he can stay there until we get to the end of the stage or next caution, he will get the lucky dog, come back around. But unfortunate for Brandon, he had a really good run going, but had a mishap getting off the pit road during that last green flag stop. But right now it is Joshua McCullough, Kenneth McCullough, Richard Elliott, Dylan Picklesheimer, and Michael Barksdale, your top 5. How far are they going to be able to go here, Wesley, before they got to come and take on some fuel?
I think you're exactly right. What strategy we're going to keep watching these guys. And by the way, we're still seeing the McCulloughs. I'm predicting probably a lap 105 to 110. We're going to see them come down to the pit lane. As right now, these guys are right now hauling the mail. I have the opportunity, thanks to SDK, to look at timing and scoring. And besides those leaders working across the stripe, about to overcome some more back marker cars up ahead at the tail end of the field in turn number 1 and 2 for them. There's another big gaggle of traffic. It's from 7th on back. You're seeing it. That's led by the driver, of course, of Cameron Craighead right there. The Hey Dude entry had a problem. Overshot his pit box. Cody Nagels, Matthew Baker, Tristan Bruce. You know why I mention these names? Because these are the friends that were the dominators of the first half of this race. And they're waiting patiently now for the guys that are in the top 6 in their own little world to come down pit road. They'll be the new front runners.
Yeah, it's 33 seconds back to that group right here. Craighead leading us right now. They're about 33 seconds back from our leader. But so once those drivers pit, it looks like our pit cycles, total pit times have been around about 34 to 35 seconds. So they will definitely regain the lead here once that lead group comes into pits. As Joshua McCullough still leads it, but this group is really organized, and this is what you really have to do in this situation. If you're trying to catch that lead pack right now, you're kind of pitted off cycle here. Stay together, stay single file, stay nose to tail, and you can see they're doing exactly that, and they are making up a lot of time.
They really are, and look at this now. Another lap going on as we're being told, yeah, I was thinking around 100 to 105. They're going to say about lap 110 is what I got somebody telling me in my ear, possibly on fuel strategy if they continue to drive wide open. Next time by, the cross flags will be displayed, and we will be halfway in the inaugural Great Sim Race of America with the Variety Pack Racing Series, the VPN. The VPR Daytona 500 presented by Marathon Movers. I missed the letter. I'm sorry.
No worries.
Of course, Chris Murphy. I'm Wesley Outland, and we are about to be halfway home. A caution field first half of this race, Chris Murphy. But I think we're going to see the latter as we move into the second half until probably that third and final stage. And then the fireworks are definitely going to go into C4 being lit again.
Yeah, 10 cautions early. We've been running green flag for a long period of time right now since we kind of about the last 30, 40, 50 laps here. But look at this lead group has now just put a lap on some of the cars that were leading right before the green flag stops. John Ward now going a lap down. Brandon Broadfoot. I also see J.R. Miller in that group now a lap down. So unfortunate kind of timing for that group when they pitted, but now they are finding themselves one lap down. There's the 92 award right there, looking around the outside of the 64 of William Britton, but they call him Bacon Britton, I guess is the nickname for the 64. But let's see what can happen here. A lot of times when you get these lap cars mixed in with the leaders, we get a little bit of excitement, but right now everybody's still settled in here.
You're exactly right. Understanding we got a race for the lead going on and the race for the free pass. We're going to keep an eye on both of those positions, because if the caution was to come out for an accident or actually at the end of the stage at lap number 125, when would be the end of stage 2. Right now, J.R. Miller is the car that is on the tail end. He'd get the free pass. Right now, the battle for the leaders as well. Joshua McCullough, and Elliott, the law firm, bypass Miller as they go into turn 3. More traffic up ahead your way, Chris.
Yeah, the 20 of Cohen up there on the outside. He's just staying out of the way, lap down. The 05 leading this race of Josh McCullough, and you know I got to silently root for Josh, because 05 is the number I ran on my race car for about 25 years, so I got to pull for it. But it's Joshua McCullough, Kenneth McCullough, the Ellie. I root for a lot of different people. That's exactly right. But Picklesheimer now in the 4th spot. Barksdale, these guys have just been patient, nose to tail right here, trying to put as much gap they can between that second group before they come in to make their pit stops. And they've actually been holding about a 33 to 34 second gap here now for about the last 10 laps.
Obviously, everybody taking in what was the 68th running of the Daytona 500. There's a lot of broadcast iRacing streams that cover 500-mile events. I'm not going to lie to you, Chris Murphy. This is my 6th 500, the most I've ever done in a year. It's been today, and I think I'm going to be done for when this one's over. But what a fun one it's been. The caution field, the first 100 laps, 250 miles. Now we're down to the second half. Joshua McCullough, Kenneth McCullough, Richard Elliott, all these guys are in a stalemate. They're just riding, staying single file. Now they're running down that second pack led by Cameron Craighead, Cody Nagels. They're trying to get around lap machines as they've also lapped J.R. Miller. All of this is now quietly going on in the back straightaway.
Kind of what happens a lot of times with these races, with these green flag stops, when these groups get separated out with this, we don't have near the excitement that we saw this morning in the duels. We're not near as much excitement as we saw early on in this race. Everybody just kind of biding their time. They've all got a plan. I guarantee you this whole top group right here is talking to each other. They're going to try to pit together. Now it's been about 35 laps now since they pitted. Our understanding, they're going to have to pit sometime within the next 5 to 7 laps. So we're going to see if we can stay green flag right here, how this is going to shake out. But it's about 34 seconds now back to that second group, and that's about what pit times have been. Total pit lap times been 33 to 34 seconds. So we're going to see how this shakes out. I think we're going to see him in about the next 3 laps.
McCullough, Elliott, Picklesheimer, Barksdale right now. By the way, Michael Barksdale, he has moved up 17 positions. Started this race in 23rd. He's now 5th as they still, right now, set the pace. Single file. It's McCullough's Toyota out in front. We got a feeling pit road will open for these guys in about less than a handful of laps, or maybe 10 as they go back to turn 1.
Yeah, we take a little look on board there with Barksdale. He's now up to the 5th spot. He was involved in an incident earlier. Got himself regrouped here. Got the car repaired. Fortunately, not too much damage on it. And it's still the McCullough team out in front. Alex, Wesley, you were talking earlier about the amount of 500 races you've done. This is my first full 500, and the way things were performing earlier might be my last one for the year.
No, buddy, don't let it knock you down, my friend. Keep on. Don't let it knock you down. I've enjoyed working with you guys. Obviously, Liam Yevberg is showing his talents not only on the announcing, working with him, but also the production. Ervig, I'm sorry. It's been a long day, Liam. Please, man. Through the tri-oval as they come to the line, McCullough, and Elliott. But, Liam, Ervig, and Chris, man, you guys are great. I know we had some technical woes, but dude, that happens. I've seen professional broadcasts have technical issues. So, hell, the Super Bowl 2 weeks ago had audio issues during the national anthem. So, I mean, China wasn't built in a day. Neither was Rome. Joshua McCullough, Kenneth McCullough, Richard Elliott, all these guys stay single file as they work their way down the back stretch. And again, the leader, I believe, when it happens, it will be Cameron Craighead to pull back up in front. He's waiting for the 6 cars to finally tuck in line and drop to the bottom of the double yellow line. The answer, though, is no as they work through the tri-oval. They're not coming to the pitch yet, Chris.
If we take a look at that second group, they've now formed about 12 cars in that single line back there trying to get grouped up. And you can see this right here. They are staying really well organized. Nobody trying to get racy. Maybe a couple cars peeking out there, try to cool down a little bit, but they have been nose to tail since that pit stop back on lap number 86. They've run 22 laps right here. Oh, a little bit of wiggle there from Nagels with Baker right there behind it, but this group is really trying everything they can to make up some ground, and they have made up about a second in about the last 3 or 4 laps, but so far they are still running back here by themselves, trying to catch that lead group of about 7 cars of McCullough, Elliott, and Picklesheimer.
It sounds like a law firm, doesn't it? A massive law firm as they close in on the final 35 or the less than 50 miles remaining here in stage number 2. 18 to go. And, of course, remember, they are looking for lap 125 for the guy up in the 7th spot, Cameron Craighead, Cody Nagels, Matthew Baker. They're looking for this pack of 6 to come down to the pit lane. It ain't happening yet. Here comes the field. The virtual thunder in their kaleidoscope of colors right now going down the back straightaway.
I'm really surprised they haven't pitted yet here, Wesley. They are stretching this as long as they possibly can. Right now, McCullough, Elliott. We're just gonna have to get a law firm signed for this group, as you said. I think that's a really good one right there. A couple more laps left to go here. We've got 17 left to go. And then it's J.R. Miller's right now still holding that lucky dog position in the 78. He's still our first car lap down.
And remember, If Miller comes, if a caution does come out, Miller is going to get the free pass, meaning he will go back on the lead lap, even if these guys come down to the pit lane. What is good for Miller is also when they peel off, he's going to be back in front of clean air from these cars, and he is going to have distance from the other front runners to keep himself at least on the tail end and pray for those final 15 laps or so to hopefully stay green so he can stay in that position if the caution comes out at lap 125. Nothing changing as the field works their way again out of turn number 4.
And we basically got 2 packs on the racetrack, this lead group that we're watching, and then that second group back there with Craighead leading. They're all grouped up. I see one straggler out there on the racetrack. For the most part, everybody is in line as we're going to try to get about 15 laps left to go here in stage 2. What's the strategy? Who's going to work together? We see some teammates out there. Unfortunately, we lost some good race cars early, but right now everybody's getting teamed up. We've got the MMS drivers up here leading this race right now. They're on a completely different strategy from the group from NBG Motorsports. Sorry, I had to read it because I couldn't remember it, but we've got a good race forming up here with 15 to go left in stage 2.
What a flawless ride, by the way, for the MMS Motorsports and the PGR Esports drivers as well. All this going on as they work their way down into the tri-oval. Another lap on the board. It's McCullough. We did see some cars peel onto the pit lane, but it's not this front pack except for Michael Barksdale. Barksdale is the lone wolf. He'll come to the pit lane, but everyone else, these other 5 cars, stay in line as they work the back straightaway.
Yeah, Barksdale came down there. It looked like he might have came down with Hunter Winkler right there, got teamed up. Unfortunate kind of off cycle here with this group. But right now, Barksdale going to come in. We'll see where he cycles back out, but it's still going to be Joshua McCullough and Kenneth McCullough up here at the front. Richard Elliott still tagging along right here. And I'm keeping an eye on that 78 of Miller to see if he can keep the lucky dog spot as we got 14. Oh, here comes our leaders down to the pit road.
They come, and a lap past 110, lap number 111, working 112. They'll come down to the pit lane, and here they roll. McCullough, Elliott, McCullough, that's Kenneth and Joshua, Christopher McCullough, all 3 McCullough family members on pit road. Dylan Pickelsheimer as well. And where is the leader now? Cameron Craighead works turn 3. He can be the new leader if he can beat these guys off pit road coming in 3 and 4.
Let's see what they're going to cycle through here. See what the McCulloughs that are going to come out of the pits. We had a little bit of an incident right there. Elliott getting a little bit sideways getting in the pits. We'll see if that slows his pit time down. But here comes Craighead. They're going to come across the stripe. I'm looking down. It looks like the group is now making their way out. Definitely Craighead going to go to the point here. That second group that was leading this race took a little bit longer on pit road. They are going to lose this lead draft.
Remember, here's something to think about. The drivers of the front 5 that just had to come down to the pit lane, they have to stay to the bottom of the racetrack. You're seeing that right now, right? As you see them, Jackson Bison, others keeping them climbing. Here we go. There's the McCullough family. They have to stay to the bottom of the racetrack until they hit that double yellow line on the inside apron, until they hit the cone entering the backstretch, and then they can join the racing groove in the draft. As all the while, Cameron Craighead now not only in the lead, as we see now also Miller's car up high, the 17, clear a path. He'll open the door now for Miller and others. That's, by the way, the battle between Corey Powell, Justin Johnson, Henry Winkler. These are now cars on the tail end of the lead lap. J.R. Miller, by the way, Chris is back on the lead lap. He's in the top 20 and 18th.
Number 17, Hunter Winkler is not a new nickname. Wesley gave him the nickname Henry Winkler. We're going to now call Hunter Winkler the Fonz. So the
Did
Fonz
I call
back
him
there.
Henry? I'm so sorry.
No, you're good.
You know
I like.
I
we're going to call him the Fonz
the
for the rest of his. Oh. So we got the 6. So we watch this group of drivers right here. We're single filed out trying to catch the leaders, and you can see now that they know they're out in front. They're going to race for this lead. They've got 11 laps left to go before the stage, and as organized as they were single filed earlier, now they are fighting it out for the lead. Melikarp on the outside. Craighead now with the lead with Nagels right behind him. Baker as well. So that kind of single file, I want to say boring, but uneventful racing that we saw for a long, long time is now getting a little more exciting here as we're getting towards the end of stage number 2.
And that goes to show you even the pros make mistakes, my friend, for sure. So I was binge watching Scream the other day, and Henry Winkler was the principal in the inaugural movie. So and yes, I was a fan. I was a fan of Happy Days back in the day too.
Oh,
so
who's that around side
we're
of
seeing,
the infield?
whoa, hold on. Oh, what are you doing, Corey Powell?
Corey
Way
Powell gets
out
a
of
little bit of
line,
shove.
Chris, but he's on pit road.
I don't know if he was trying to pit or he ended up getting forced down there, but Powell in the 29 is going to be down there on pit road now, so we're going to get back. He missed his pit spot too, having to back up, so unfortunate there for him. But Nagels has now found his way to the front. Craighead got shuffled out. Where did Craighead go? Trying to find him on my timing and scoring. Damn, the 10th spot for Craighead. I couldn't find his name on there somewhere. I got to get some better glasses. But here comes the 48 of Craighead. He has got Mistretta. He's going to come up and give the 51 a good shove of Zachary King. See if he can get back to the front. And, you know, we saw these guys single file on the bottom of the racetrack. Now they're all single file up on the top, Wesley.
Yeah, they are, man. We're looking at all this going on, and we're seeing these guys really trying to race up against the safer barrier, the top shelf where Grandma hides the cookies from Grandpa, and sometimes his dentures as well. As Cody Nagels now up on the outside lane. Baker with a push in the center. Open the door down to the bottom. Here comes Justin Mellicar. He's got help from Eckert. There's contact. He got pushed below the line. Somehow Eckert backs away and lets the 84 retract and start over, going to 3.
They had a fantastic run into one. Mellicar and Eckert timed that perfectly, but unfortunately, a little bit of off-center push down the back straightaway. Mellicar just about turned Mellicar around, but Eckert back off. Going to let him get straightened out. Buys with an evasive maneuver to the top of the racetrack to miss them. And let's see if they can do that same thing again. That was a heck of a run into turn number 1, but right now it's still Nagels and Baker with Mellicar down there on the bottom with the 12 of Eckert.
And we're going to keep an eye on this again, right, and see what happens as these guys are now stacked up. Here comes 3 wide, Buttercup. They're going to go 3 wide. Here they come now, working into turn number 2 and leading, helping as Cameron Craighead to get this third run going. Lap traffic on the bottom. Somebody's going to have to give way, and they will. It's Mellicar in the middle lane going to 3.
And we got the 10 of Bailey lap car. He's going to get out of the way. He sees that coming. He wants nothing to do with it. He's down below the yellow line. Eckert now on the bottom. Eckert pushed Mellicar to the lead, but then left him, goes down to the bottom of the racetrack. He wants to lead. That 12 car knows nothing more than to be in the front of the pack. That's where he wants to be. Nagel's going to make it 3 wide. He's going to leave Mellicar on the outside. Nagel's going to bring Baker along to the middle of the racetrack. We're 3 wide across the line with 7 to go in stage number 2.
Yes, sir. Here we go as they're now 3 by 3 by 3 by 3 by 1. Cameron Craighead by his lonesome. Push out of line, Mellicar. Cody Nagels got sideways for a moment. Matthew Baker's there.
Oh.
Here comes Ethan Eckert. They're right now going at it 3 wide, 4 or 5 spots. Nagels to the lead. The Coloradoan from the Smoky Mountains, the Great Smokies, going into turn 3, holding on to the lead, but Eckert powers back in turn number 2.
You thought we were coming
Rocky,
for 2
yeah, Rocky Top, yeah, Rocky Mountains.
Coming for,
yeah.
That's 200th lap, not the 120. The power of the mountains, right? But it's
Yes,
Eckert
sir.
to the point. Look at Zachary King. Zachary King in the 51. He's going to get up here and lead this race. He is getting some help from Buys down on the bottom. As Buys backs off a little bit, kind of backs into the 8 of Mistretta. Also collects Craig. Kind of an accordion effect there on the bottom of the racetrack. But here comes Buys. He backed up, and he's going to get a good run and push the 51. And it looks like we got a problem with the 35. Something going on here with the 35 car. A little bit of incident.
Fuel.
Might got into the wall. Think he ran out of fuel?
I don't know if he might have ran out of fuel, guys. I think the 35, Mason Olney, is way off the pace. Either he hit the wall, as you said, or he might have ran out of fuel. He might have forced to run the tank dry. Nonetheless, we still continue to race on. Hey, by the way, Chris, do you know what Coors Light is?
I know what we used to call it.
Colorado Kool-Aid.
Oh, we used to call it Romance by the Sea, but I won't go farther into that one.
Oh.
And you can see
Colorado Kool-Aid. And here's a replay of Olney's car driving through the drainage ditch and more through the turf in the middle of the apex of the racetrack coming out of turn 3 and 4. No harm, no foul. We stay green, and the leaders, Chris, are back on the back straightaway. By the way, under 5 remaining in stage 2 here in the 500.
5 laps left to go in stage number 2. It's who wants that $50? At least looks like it's Ethan Eckert wants to lead this race, but he's got the 6 of Nagels and the 5 of Baker. lurking right there behind. Neither one of them want to finish second at any point of any race. They always want to be out in front. The 34 of Crisquero also with a good run. I look back to that second group, or that earlier group that was leading this race. They've now fallen about 11 to 12 seconds behind this lead pack. But we're going to get grouped back up here as soon as we go to caution with 4 laps left to go. And across the stripe, it's going to be the 12. Oh, this looks like Craig is going to get turned around sideways back there. Did not see it. Looks like he got off the nose, somehow saved that race car. Looks like the 51 and the 48 got together.
Craig just got pushed out of the groove, and he just got the short end of the stick, right? He just got pushed to the back and even lost a lot more ground to the front runners. And by the way, Ethan Eckert, up 39 spots, stage 1 winner. He's up in the front again now with 3 laps to go in stage 2 as they work off 4.
Ethan Eckert looking to pocket $100 just in these first couple of stages. If he can stay out in front here for just 3 more laps, they come across the stripe. 3 laps to go here in stage number 2. We're going to come across the line to end this stage at a lap number 125, and it's Eckert, Nagels, Baker, Crisquero, Bies now in the top 5. But that 84 of Justin Mellicar lurking back there in that 6th position. Watch for him to make a move here. He made a good move earlier to the bottom of the racetrack. Let's see if he can do it again.
And we'll keep an eye and see if he can right now. Back straightaway. Look at who's pulling out of line. Here comes some more people trying to make some moves to get a chance at the money, like this guy, Jackson Bice, back to the bottom. He's got friends in Malachar and Mastrita. All these guys work their way to the bottom, pushing now the leader of Bice to the front. Eckert battles back there side by side with 2 to go in stage 2 in Daytona.
We got 9 in this lead pack across the pack. You could throw a blanket over it right now. Bies on the bottom, Eckert at the top, Mellicar in this battle, Mastretta in the 8 car trying to push that bottom. We're going to come through 1 and 2 here one more time down the back straightaway, and it's going to be Bies with the lead. That bottom line starting to get a good run. Let's see if they can. Let's watch Bies. Watch the 33 jump to the. It's Eckert now gets a little bit shaken up. He goes to the middle of the racetrack. Now we're 3 wide with Bruce, Eckert, and Nagels. Baker going to come along as well. So it's Bies going to lead us down into turn number 3 as we're going to come to 1 lap to go in stage number 2.
Let's see what goes on. Who's going to go for the money? Here they come, working off a turn number 4. They were side by side a lap ago. Now we're single file. Jackson Bice brings his Toyota to the line. White flag in the air. Final lap in stage number 2, and money on the grabs up for line, Chris, as they work turn 1.
Get some separation up here. Watch that 6 and a 5. They're teamed up. Mellicar going to block. 33 of Bies goes down to block. That really backs everybody up. Had lost a lot of momentum, but Bies down to the bottom. Nagels looks back to the outside. It's way too late for Bies to block that as they head down the back straightaway. The 6 and a 5 are going to go by Bies heading into turn number 3. Oh, and there goes Mellicar.
The song, Bye, 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 in sync. Some of these guys are free falling like Tom Petty's lyrics out of turn 4. Cody Nagels now. He gets a push by Baker. Mastrita to the outside. Will he push? He will. He can't get there in time. Cody Nagels will win stage 2 in the Daytona VPR 500 presented by Marathon Movers. Caution is out. The longest green flag run of the race will now end in stage number 2. 75 laps to go. The big run for the money is next in Daytona, Chris.
Fantastic run there from Nagels. Nagels and Baker teamed up. Our Rolla, Missouri driver Cody Nagels going to win.
I said Colorado. It's Missouri. Yeah. Guys, it's been a long day, Kevin. Leave me alone.
Yeah, so
he is. He's a Cody Nagels man right there for sure. And there he is, Cody Nagels, winning stage number 2. The man out of Rolla, Missouri. What a phenomenal job. And the driver just absolutely from the Show Me State. There you go, Kevin. See, I told you I knew my geography in some shape or form sometimes.
What are they trying to show me is what I want to know. I'm not quite sure what that is.
The Show Me State is go to Lucas Oil Speedway, man. That's a beautiful crown gym out in the middle of nowhere, okay? Cornfields and a racetrack. It's like it's the new Eldor of today's standards. But Cody Nagels, what a great job. And here we go. And I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be honest with you guys, and I'll bring you in again, Chris. I think we're about to see the crazy finish, and I'm going to throw something out here. Normally, I'm just being honest here. Normally in the 500 and the big races I've covered in real life or sim, It's like 65, 60 laps, stage one, stage two. Let's get a lap 120 completed. And the third stage is like, 100 laps, 85, something like that. This is 75 to go. There is less than 150 miles to determine who is going to win this race when they come back to green. 75 remaining. And I think you literally threw a caution, and it's at the perfect time to see what goes on here to decide who's going to get Brandon Broadfoot's money.
Yeah, it's going to be the 10th caution of the race. We've got 21 cars on the lead lap, 22 once Bailey gets the lucky dog right there. But it's going to be an exciting last 75 laps. We're going to jump over to caution. Our producer's yelling in our ear, he needs a break. We're going to jump over to caution, and we're going to come back and hopefully cover 75 green flag laps when we come back to DRSN with a VPR 500.
one.
Come to the green.
The field will make their way back to the United Rentals restart zone, and the field will take the green with 71 laps to go in the inaugural Great Sim Race of Daytona, the 500, the VPR 500 presented by Marathon Movers, back under green flag conditions. And as you take a look at the admin box top 10 and the scoring ticker, it is about to get exciting. The push for the money is underway, Chris Murphy, as they work down the super stretch in 2.
And look at the top 4 there, Wesley. It was McCullough Motorsports with Josh McCullough, Kenneth McCullough now kind of falling back there, Elliott and Christopher McCullough. And it's the 004 McCullough now. Christopher going to lead this pack. He has got the 05 of Joshua right there behind him, but the outside line one more time with Nagels, and it looks like Bruce getting another good run on the outside. That outside going to be the dominant place to be here as we come back around here to cross the stripe to start to lap number, start lap 131.
By the way, they've come to the line with 70 laps to go here in this race as they come to the stripe. Just about coming to the line. I'm looking at the scoring ticker here as these guys continue to stay in position. All the while, we continue to watch this man of Cody Nagels leading inside, outside from Missouri. Yes, I was referring to Mastrita. He is from Colorado, and these guys are all up in the mix, in it to win it. So is Cameron Craighead. He's making a push on the 6 of Cody as they work in turn number 3.
And we are 2 by 2. We saw it earlier. Everybody single filed out, but we're back to side-by-side racing here with Cody Nagels out in front. Craighead now has made his way into that 2nd spot. He's got the 5 of Baker pushing, and there's the 51 of Zachary King up in the 4th spot. We take a look back here at Triscaro in the 34 car right now, dancing around. You can see the 33 up on the outside. We're going to have a solid racer.
Listen to the throttle. The throttle. As Triscaro and the other driver on his driver right of Miller, Pickelsheimer, they're all right there as they push their way. There's that, of course, Michael Triscaro, the PGR 500 wrap on that car as they work their way again to turns number 3 and 4. Inside, outside. Chris, I got to ask you, where is Malik Ray? Did he get caught up in an accident in the early going? I know he didn't show up.
Did not even take the green flag with us tonight. Did not.
Unbelievable.
I can't believe it took us 133 laps to even think about that, but did not take the green flag.
No, in Liam's defense, he did bring it up. Yeah, Liam did bring it up. I wasn't here yet, but he did. Yeah.
That's what I get for paying attention early on. I guess Liam did bring it up. But Nagel's out in front of this thing. But Malik Ray, unfortunately not here, would have been, I'm sure, been up at the front of this pack. We did lose some good drivers early on this race. McDonald, Jeff Merck had this race early on, but Nagels and Craighead now up in front. We're single filed, about 12 cars back here, Wesley. Everybody kind of settled in, but we got a few stragglers trying to make that outside work.
You're exactly right. As we continue to see these guys, shuck and jive down the front straightaway. A lot of great racing rolling on here. Lap number 133 of 200. Less than 70 to go. 67 remaining to be exact. Cody Nagels holding on to the lead. Cameron Craighead, Matthew Baker, Zachary King. There's a new name, Chris, we haven't mentioned now into the top 5 in that 51 Ford. All these guys now play nice in the back straightaway. Single file around more cars that are slower on the outside lane.
Yeah, King's made his way up in there. He's looking strong here so far. He's been up in this top battle for a little bit here. Oh, we got 62 around. It looked like Dinsmore got turned around off the nose, and the 64 Melicar going to have a head-on collision right there. Dinsmore slides down off the banking, and the 12 just kind of comes into that right there.
The Canadian Jason Dinsmore involved in an accident, and tough brakes also for Justin Melicar to put us under the yellow flag again here for the 11th time on the restart at the start of stage 3. Chris Murphy, you saw it happen in the bank in the 3 and 4.
Yeah, you can see Dinsmore going to come down across the nose of McCullough right here. He's on the outside. Let's see. Oh, a little bit of contact with the 03 and the 62. Sends the 62 into the wall. Hard contact right there. And unfortunately, Melicar just nowhere to go. And as Melicar the 62 slides down the racetrack, here comes Justin Johnson in the 82. I think he thought the bottom of the racetrack was going to be clear, but it looks like the contact with the 03 and the 62 going to start that incident right there, and we are under caution now for the 11th time here in the VPR 500.
By the way, VPR stands for Variety Pack Racing. The VPR Racing Series is fired up with a Thursday program. League, if you'd like to join what they're running from ARCA, Cup, trucks, and more, check it out on the Variety Pack Racing Series social media and on Discord. And of course, big thanks to the DSRN Digital Racing Sports Network for everything from I think I've seen over the last couple of weeks since me and Chris Murphy have started communicating in regards to tonight's race. I've seen everything from late models to dirt to pavement, NASCAR, and much more. DRSN, the Digital Racing Sports Network. Hit that subscribe button to keep up with all the great content. And there's other sponsors, Chris, if you want to mention them, as Pit Road is about to become a busy place as we close in under 70 to go, my friend.
Yeah, 65 laps left to go. Everybody down on Pit Road. A couple other sponsors going to mention Marathon Movers, one of the big sponsors here for the VPR 500. Also, iRacing Drivers World sponsored the Money in the Duel races earlier this morning. Corbin Matthews, a country singer. If you enjoy some good country music, check out Corbin Matthews. He's been releasing a few songs. Had one come out on Friday, as a matter of fact. But just happy to be here covering the VPR 500 here on DRSN. My name's Chris Murphy with Wesley Outland and Liam Ervig. I started on the 1s and 2s. I think Liam's pushing the 3s and 4s now. I think we just kind of moved on. But, if you haven't been here before, give us a subscribe. And like Wesley said, we cover just about everything from mini stocks to endurance races to whatever we can. And trust me, the issues you saw earlier are not a normal thing for us. We're going to bring you a good quality broadcast. If you're looking for some coverage, reach out to us and we'll get you taken care of.
By the way, amongst all the technical issues, you guys did a phenomenal job to bounce back. We all worked together. No panic here on the other side of the spectrum. And obviously, to our audience, we do apologize for the technical issues. But the most important thing was to try to get back on the other side with a positive and a great production. And we have done that. Liam Ervig has done a phenomenal job. Do you guys have a soundboard? Can you hear this? Hang on a minute. Let me give a little love to Liam here and Chris. Do you guys hear that? Props to both of you guys, right? Round of applause. Round of applause for everybody. Round of applause for our audience as well tuning in. It's been a great day of racing. Guys, I've had fun from the real racetrack to calling the duels with you guys this morning and afternoon to bouncing back and forth. I feel like I've been talking since about 9:30 this morning, and it's about 9:39 at night, and I feel like the only time I've stopped to take a pause was about 10, 15 minutes of driving from the racetrack to home to be right back with you guys again. So, no, it's been fun, and so many talented drivers. Look at the roster on the admin box top 10 scoring ticker, and honestly, Chris, all of these guys have a shot to win this thing. I'm going to steal a line from Mike Joy again. If you're up in the front, you're in it to win it. Lights off with a pace car. The Home Depot throwback of Logano or Tony Stewart. That's the number 20 machine of Dustin Cowan. He'll get back on the lead lap, or he'll take the wave around, if you will, and we'll get ready to bring him back to green. Cody Neggles, of course, Neggles, Baker, Miller, King, McCullough, top 5, Chris, as we have the lights off on the pace car. We go back to green next time by with 63 to go.
As you said, it's been an adventurous day all day long. We've had a couple nights of first. Last night, we covered a race with Matt Metler in the booth with us, and he was actually in the race broadcasting during the race. If you get a chance to go back and watch that was a ton of fun. Matt did a fantastic job, and that was just a fun race with the High Gear Racing. Now we had Wesley here with us today, broadcasting from the tower at the racetrack he was broadcasting at. So we've it's been a couple days worth of first here at DRSN, but we're going to go green here in the VPR 500. We roll down the back straightaway. It's Cody Nagels, Matthew Baker, J.R. Miller now up here in the top 3. I'm watching at 51 is Zachary King. He has looked good all day, but does he have enough friends to get to the front? We see a bunch of teammates here together, and I don't know if he's got enough teammates to outduel this the NBG Motorsports team or the McCullough Motorsports, but we're going to see what King has in store for us as we're going to roll through 3 and 4 here to come to the green one more time, Wesley.
Yeah, they're going to be coming to the green flag, and we, again, will settle them in with the wrap-up of the, of course, 11th caution of this race. 11 cautions so far, and as we approach 130... Yeah, the real Daytona 500 did have 17 cautions. You're exactly right. 2011 did. Yeah, 2011 did. as Cody Nagels will get ready to bring the field back to green. Pace car is in. Matthew Baker, front row. Couple of Chevrolets, of course, Sarah Bowties, couple of ovals and Fords in the top 2 rows back to green. And all the while, we continue to watch these guys work from a little lap or 2 before they get back to full song. They climb that 31 degrees of banking. It's the man from Missouri up on the high side. Click, click, click. It's the 6 of Cody as they work up top. Here comes Zachary King. Where did he come from, Chris? He's now the new leader on the bottom of the pink car on the inside.
Zachary King has found a buddy in Christopher McCullough. They're going to the front. I'm going to watch that 004 lead 51 hanging. If he can clear the Nagels, he's not, but he's not. He's going to stay down on the bottom. John Ward right there as well, one of the top super speedway drivers in all of iRacing. The 92 of Ward up to 3rd. Nagels drops down to the bottom to pick up Baker.
Somehow they hold on. Look at this. Pushing inside, outside. Purple car makes a move back up there again. Look who's back in the saddle. It's John Ward. He wants the lead. Pushed by Miller. Helped by McCullough. Outside lane works. Here comes Ward around Miller and King. McCullough down to 3rd as they work up the outside in turn 2.
Ward wants to lead this race, and he has the lead right now. Miller going to look to the inside. Ward tries to block off that run. Ward down to the bottom. Miller back down to the bottom. Joshua McCullough now to 3rd. He's got Elliott behind him. So that McCullough Motorsports down there, top 3 of 4 right here. The Dagger Pros number 92 of John Ward out in front. And who is that on the outside? Is that the 69? That's a lap car of 69 of Charlie Morgan. So Charlie Morgan kind of in this battle right here, but he is a lap down. He's got the 17 of Fonzie right there behind him.
Fonzie. Hey, you've gone somewhere when you got a driver's new nickname, and it happened just by accident for Hunter. Sorry, Hunter. The Fonzie. Hunter Winkler right now, not Henry, working his way out of turn number 3 and 4 as they come back to down the back straightaway. My apologies. All this going on is we'll watch what Winkler others will do. McCullough's now behind Miller. Ward, that's on the inside. Up top side, here comes a teammate for Ward. That's the number 69 car, and that is, of course, the driver. I think is he on the tail end of the lead lap, or at least a lap down car? That's Charlie Morgan right there in line. Will he help John Ward? I know he's a lap down or on the tail end. We'll see what goes on as they come to the line. Lap 140 completed, 60 laps to go. If you're doing the math, Chris Murphy, that is 150 miles left in this race.
Well, I'm glad you did that because I wasn't fast enough to do that in my head. I'm just going to go 60 laps. I'm going to take your word for it. If you're saying it's 150 miles, my friend, then I'm going to say it's 150 miles as well. But it's John Ward. We've got a full pack of cars heading down the back straightaway. Just about everybody that's on the racetrack is in this pack right now, and it is Ward and Miller and Morgan. Charlie Morgan, like you said, Dagger Pro's teammate of John Ward, trying to get up there and give him some help, but he falls back on the outside. That bottom line just way too strong right now, and it's Ward and Miller and McCullough now your top 3.
I'm loving this, my friend. Look at these guys now working down into the corner. All the while we continue to stay in line with, of course, keep an eye on these drivers, right? 22 cars on the lead lap, led with McCullough in the back. John Ward up in front. All the while, Ward will continue to stay in the lead. J.R. Miller, at one time, he was on the tail end of the lead lap. This is how good his car is, Chris, down the back straightaway. He's now in 2nd place in that Ford, number 78, right behind Ward. McCullough will follow. So will Elliott and King as they work 3.
Yeah, I see a few of the McCullough Motorsports up here. It is Johnson, McCullough, Elliott, and I'm also looking a little wiggle back there from Baker. Baker falling back through this field just a little bit as he gets a little bit of a push here from the 10 car. Baker finds a hole to get back to the bottom of the racetrack after moving up, chasing the car up the racetrack, and we see the 17 of Hunter Winkler on his outside. Here comes the 10 car in there as well. We got a bunch of lap cars mixed in with our leaders, but Ryan Bailey trying to give Baker a shove, try to get him back up to this group. And I'm looking back a little further. I'm trying to find Ethan Eckert. Eckert was falling way back at the start of after the stage break, but he has now made his way back up to 14th in the 12 car.
Keep an eye on him, guys, as he works his way again back across the stripe. And all these whiles we will watch this going on, these battles, these exciting moments And by the way, remember Justin Malakar? He now had an accident just not too long ago. Chris, he's worked his way now in the top 10. Michael Barksdale had an issue on pit road. He's climbed back into the top 10. All of these chess pieces now beginning to get in form as the field is about ready to declare checkmate on their adversaries. John Ward now back on the bottom of the racetrack. Here opened up the middle lane. King now up top with Baker as they work into.
And we see some good hot rods back here in the middle of this pack right now. Baker trying to get back to the front. Nagel's trying to get back towards the front. Kind of stuck in the middle of this pack right now. And look at Zachary King leading that outside line. He has got Baker in tow. Bruce in a 3. Charlie Morgan right there is along with him as well. But it's still John Ward leading this race. He has Miller right there tucked up underneath the back of that 92. But the outside line looks to be coming right here as we're going to come across the stripe. 56 laps left to go.
They will work across the stripe. There's John Ward. He's in that purple and black car. Another one of those MMS Motorsports PGR Esports competitors down to the inside, and the purple machine is there. Purple power for John Ward. He's got another Ford helping him of J.R. Miller. Joshua McCullough, another MMS driver. Another Ford of Zachary King. You know, at one time of the race, Chris Murphy, it was the bow ties of Chevrolet and the Toyotas up in the front. Now we're seeing the blue oval of Ford working now up to the top. Top 3 cars are Fords. They're now going to fight for the lead as they work now to lap 145 this time by.
We take a look at a little bit different camera angle here, looking back to the leaders down on the bottom of the racetrack. Miller, Ward saw that line coming on the outside, jumps up to block it off. He's got King tucked up behind him. Let's see. Baker looks to the bottom, gets a run into one. Ward with a great block right there, blocks off that run from the 5 car. The 5 and the 51 make a little bit of contact in the center of the corner, but Ward now back to the front. He's got Baker now in tow with Miller, but here comes that outside line with King and Bruce and Charlie Morgan, and they are pushing the 51 car to the lead.
By the way, I want to remind you that you can follow the Digital Racing Sports Network on social media. I just hit the like and the follow on, of course, Facebook. And check out Variety Pack Racing Series as well on Discord. So you can join the Thursday series or possibly, if it happens, the second running of the VPR 500 here from Daytona, the Great Sim Race of America, presented by Marathon Movers. To the line, closing in on the final 50 laps of this one. It's 54 to go. King and Bruce now front runners for the lead in turn 1, Chris.
And here comes Bruce. Bruce alongside down on the bottom. He's able to make his way to the front of this pack. The 51 still on the outside. The lap car of Morgan on the second car in line there on the outside. But we can also see the 17 of Winkler, also a lap car. So we got a bunch of lap cars mixed up here in the front. They're fighting. As many cautions as we've had, they're fighting to be the first car on the lead lap. So they get that lucky dog if a caution does come out. But that outside line starting to fall back just a little bit, and it's going to be Tristan Bruce with John Ward. John Ward jumps to the outside to get up in front of the 51. He wants to get back to the lead.
Yeah, he's really trying to, right? Fighting, clawing, doing all he can for this position as they work their way again back across the stripe. Single file now for a moment. Then they get right back side by side and keep an eye on stage 1 winner, his Ford, Ethan Eckert, the AutoZone machine, trying to get a third lane going, but he got blocked by the 17 lap car up in front of him. This goes on, and we're going to go 3 wide to the back straightaway as they start snaking like Indy 500 cars in the Cup cars at Daytona in turn 3.
Eckert had a good run on the outside, making that third line work. He had to settle back down the middle. Here comes Eckert now back up into this battle. He fell way to the back after that second stage, but here he comes. He looks to the inside of Triscaro coming off the corner. Triscaro going to get left out there all by himself, and here comes King to the bottom. He wants to get the lead here around Ward as we come across the stripe into turn number 1, and here comes Eckert with a big shove on the 92.
I believe that's not your average cards. I believe that's my buddy Cody Knott from Nazareth. And, of course, yes, Lim worked on broadcast. He helped out with the duels, and then we had some technical issues. Cody, you know what that's about, my friend, for Nazareth Broadcasting sometimes. And Chris Murphy stepped up to the plate as Lim Ervig took over the production side of things. Nonetheless, my friend, always great catching in from you in California. Here come the leaders working off turn number 4. John Ward up in front. King, Eckert right there. They're getting greedy. They're going to somehow break apart from each other and open up the outside lane single file as we work to 50 to go in turn number 1, Chris.
And John Ward just looking for the best line to get in front of, and he pops up in front of Eckert right across the nose. And that just shows these guys' experience right now, just how close they can get up in front of each other, how much they can trust each other right now. And Ward, we are 3 wide here coming off of turn number 2 for about second, third on back. Ward now with the lead, but here comes the 48 at Craighead with ahead of steam. He has got Buys. We've not seen Jackson Buys up here for a little while. The 33 pushing the 48 to the front, trying to get by John Ward.
Right now, they work side by side. The awesome camera angles now from, of course, Liam high above, down the back straightaway as they now work their way back to turn 4. Look who's back up in front again to the line. 51 to go. Cameron Craighead. Hey, dude! Chris! He's on the top shelf, and he leads him in turn 1.
Craighead all the way back to the front. He has got the 8 of Mastretta. Mastretta back up here to the front as well, but Buys down on the bottom. We're seeing these shuffling around right. 33 going to go back to the top, balk off that top run, but not timed well as the 92 has a good help right there from the 12 and the 51. And they are going to get up underneath Buys heading into turn number 3.
That is Jackson Buys. Craighead right behind him. Here comes John Ward, Ethan Eckert, and a push by King. Mastretta right there, as you mentioned also. All these drivers start to get side by side, nose to tail. Rows begin to form, about 20 cars, 10 rows. Jackson Buys, here comes the Bison. He'll go back in the Toyota to P1, and they're closing in on 50 to go. By the way, if you're doing the math, there is 375 miles complete. This is the final 125 miles of this race with 50 to go, Chris, as they go into turn number 3 with Buys in the lead.
Buys down there on the bottom. You got a calculator doing this? You're not doing this in your head, are you?
No, sir, I'm doing it in my head. I mean, you do the math. 40 laps is 100 miles. What is the Larry Mack joke? Yeah, the calculator in my head is always teaming. You're exactly right, Liam. Yes. Well, I told you, this is my 6th Daytona 500 for iRacing I've done. So, I mean, I've constantly kept up with this stuff for the last 2 months, it feels like. So, yeah. Yeah,
and it's Jackson Buys to the front. Look at this. Look at this camera shot right here, looking back at the whole pack. I feel like I'm watching Days of Thunder right here right now, but it's Jackson Buys and Craighead right now. John Ward still up here in the top 3. Chase Mastretta in the number 8. Had a little misfortune this morning in the duels, but he is back up here in the top 5. Look at John Ward to the outside. He picks up the 84. And to see if we can get back to the front here right now, but it looks like Buys going to block it off. A late block up to get Ward as they come off the turn number 4. Goes back to the bottom, just trying to find a good friend to race with is the 33 right now.
Fringe, you gotta have them. Fringe, you gotta need them. Great lyrics to a song from back in the 70s, but honestly, as we move down to the end of these super speedway races, you've got to start to get your friends in line, and the question is, when will you become frenemies and you go after all the greed of wanting to be the money man yourself? All the while, John Ward leads them down the back straightaway, inside lane, behind Miller and other cars as they work into turn 3. That's Buys, that's Miller going in the corner.
Jones found a lane down on the bottom. That was tight. I was looking back there at the 011 of Dylan Jones. Surprised we haven't seen him up at the front of this. He's been involved in a couple kind of untimely incidents, but I expect Dylan Jones to be at the front of this race before it's over with 47 laps left to go. It is still Ward up front, Miller right there. Miller has been in the top 3 off and on all day long, and he is looking to pick up his win, take home a $500 check here for the today's event here at the VPR 500.
It is, as we watch these guys work again down to the line. Here comes the field, working, creeping, crawling down that super stretch. By the way, that's a 3,000-foot back straightaway. The Daytona super stretch, even Lake Lloyd is in the infield, where it's all now a flat apron of the racing surface. John Ward now leads them bottom of the double yellow line. He's there, locked to the inside. Miller, Buys, Craighead, all in the top 5 as they work out of 4.
Michael Triscaro, the first car on the outside line, up there in the 34, trying to get that working. He's got a little bit of help, but a little separation, not organized enough. That bottom line still dominant. And Ward and Miller getting a little bit of separation. Watch this run Buys is going to have with Craighead right there behind him. They head into 1 and 2. Let's see if they jump to the top of the racetrack.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that, right? All this going on, this crazy panic, chaotic racing happening as these guys somehow continue to stay and hold their line. 6 cars, single file on the bottom of the racetrack. Everybody behind them, led by Triscaro, led by that lap machine of the 17. And here comes King and Eckert. And, of course, Cody Nagels and Mistretta. They all are starting to work on the bottom, and they're getting side by side. They're pushing to the inside, and they're trying to make a run for the leaders as they work off 4.
84 Mellicar in the picture here as well. We started this race just about 3 hours ago, 7 o'clock Eastern time. It's almost 10 o'clock on your dial, and these guys have been in these sim rigs for 3 hours. And you know what? You might think that's very difficult if you sit in your computer desk at work staring at a computer screen for 3 hours. Try doing this in the sim rig, wheeling these cars back and forth, side by side in the draft, 2-3 wide. This is not an easy thing to do, but John Ward, Miller, buys right now your top 3, and 78 and 92 look to be working really well together right now, Wesley.
They really are. Yes, sir, you're exactly right. And right now they are, as you said, just kind of biding their time. I think this is the calm before the storm. Why do I say that? Because the run for the big money is about to begin. Has there been a lot of cautions? Has it been crazy and chaotic? Yes, it has. Almost 12 cautions in the first, 160 laps of this race, but in 2 stages. But now, here's the run for the money. This is the opportunity to get in order, get in line, find your friends, find your teammates. If you don't have any teammates, you might be making friends right now in that driver iRacing communication chat. You're doing all you can right now, Chris, to get your chess piece and pawns ready to declare checkmate on the field as we are nearing the home stretch of this event, heading towards 40 to go. That'll be the final 100 miles of this race. We're approaching 400 miles in about 3 circuits, and that final 100-mile stretch will be when the patience goes out the window, with still John Ward and Miller, the top 2 out of 4.
They've got 22 cars left on the lead lap. These guys have been out here for close to 160 laps now. They know who they can work with. They know who they can trust. And look at the separation here with these top 2. This is really surprising. Look at Ward and Miller kind of driving away. I'm not sure how they're managing to do this, but Biden kind of falling back there. Look at Craig and Mellicar. They got the 20 car, Dustin Cohen, going another lap down up on the outside of the racetrack. He is going to be the first car lap down at this point, and he is stuck 3 wide. It's just a nerve-wracking place to be when you're the lap car trying to get out of the way.
It really is, right? I mean, you're kind of, stuck between a rock and a hard place, if you will, and you don't want to make any kind of panic mode, and you don't want to get greedy or get impatient, because if you can, you're going to take out cars, or much less yourself. He's got to right now stay in line. He's got to stay in tow. Miller, you can see he's getting antsy. He wants to get back out in front, but here's another guy like John Ward. Remember, he up in the early start of the race, he was a front runner, if you will, Chris. He's now patiently hung in the back. He, as my good friend Jimmy Spencer used to say, he was in the snake's patch. He has stayed out of that. He stayed in the back. Now it's time to climb to the front. Why? Because he knows we're nearing the end of this race, my friend.
Yeah, we're coming close to 40 laps left to go in this. Everybody's kind of settled in here quite a bit right now. Nobody really getting real dicey, except for see Michael Triscaro there up on the outside. He's got Hunter Winkler right there in the lap 20 car of Cohen as well. Everybody's settled in here waiting for their run. Let's see who's going to shake this out at the end, as still Ward Miller buys Craighead. I am looking at that number 8 of Chase Mistretta, but I look back a little bit further. Back in the 11th spot is Cody Nagels. He has Dylan Jones right there with him as well in the 10th and 11th spot. I think they're just kind of biding their time, letting this shake out.
Cody Knott of Nazareth, my friend. He's under the chat box as Not Your Average Cards. Such a great guy I work with on the Nazareth and the Nazareth 360 Racing Network. Brandon Broadfoot, a Nazareth competitor, a PGR rod driver. Just so many great people coming together to put this event on DRSN. But I will say, Cody, if you get a chance to check out the duels, Christopher Murphy was the producer. He's the guy that created all the bells and whistles on the production, as well as Liam Irving. I'm not taking anything away from Liam, but Chris Murphy's got to get some props too, Cody. So if you get a chance, look at the archives. And as I say that, my good, here we go. Under 100 miles to go, Chris, and we got green flag pit stops for the second time here in the 500.
About half the field dives in. You can see the smoke and the brakes, but everybody's going to get in here clean. I don't see any black flags. Everybody gets down to speed in time. I see Craighead, Jackson Byes, both the McCulloughs, and Richard, Elliott, King, Mistretta, Melikar and Eckert all dive down to the pits. That's going to leave John Ward out on the racetrack with J.R. Miller and Michael Triscaro. So we're going to see if they dive in. But I expect this to be the last stop of the race as we went green back on lap about 127. We pitted back on lap 135, it looks like. So we've gone just under 30 laps. Is that right? Is that my math correct there? We put it on 135, so we may be able to go green the rest of the way here. This might be the last stop of the race.
I believe you're exactly right. They did pit at lap 135, and here comes now John Ward, J.R. Miller, Cody Neggles, Barksdale, Triscaro, Baker,
yes.
Jones, Bailey, Bruce. They're all coming down pit road like the second group from the first flight into the pit lane, Chris.
You know, I've ran a few of these races with these guys, and I always am scared to death when I got to pin under green because I am horrible at it. But those guys just did a fantastic job. About 12 cars all came down together. No contact. Everybody got slowed up. Nobody lost it. So just fantastic right there. But that leaves Justin Johnson out there on the racetrack in the lead right now as we've had two big packs of cars now pick. And here comes Baker going to lead this group out.
Yeah, we're seeing now another group of cars. Will they commit to come down to the pit lane? We'll see what the verdict will be here in just a moment. But remember, when these guys come off of pit road, they have to stay below the double yellow line. If you remember, they cannot pull onto the racetrack until they enter Alpha Turn 2. Watch these cars now. There's a cone. You see it right there entering Turn 2 or exiting Turn 2, entering the back straightaway. Once they pass that cone, Chris Murphy, then they're allowed to blend in. They call that the blend line, blend traffic. And then and listen, they do it just like last week in the 500 in the real NASCAR race. The same for these guys, trying to mimic them here for the VPR Daytona 500. You got to follow protocol. There is rules to follow, and that's one of the big ones. I was talking to Brandon. He said that is going to be strictly enforced. If you jump below that blue cone, you will suffer a penalty, and it might take away your chance for the big money as we close into the finish of this race.
Yeah, I see Johnson still out there on the racetrack. He is not pitted yet, and but I looked at the second group of Craighead, Bies, Melikar, Mastretta. Those guys had a fantastic job. They got in and out of the pits about a second and a half faster than the group behind them. But those four cars by themselves, they're going to get run down in a hurry as we look here at the 05 of McCullough. But this 82 is your leader on the racetrack right now of Justin Johnston. I think he's hoping for a caution right now. He's got Melikar right there. Sorry, that was the 64 right there with him as well. But we're going to take a look back to this group. We see here at the front of it, we saw Matthew Baker right there leading that second pack, but it's Craig Craighead out in the lead. Bies takes a look to the inside. Melikar there in the fourth spot. It's really third, I think, once Johnston pits right now. But this is going to be the race for the lead right here, Wesley, once this shakes out.
We're continuing to watch all this transpire as we see the field work their way back around the corner. Justin Johnson, by the way, now the new leader as we work 165 of 200 laps. They're going to come to the line this time by, and it will be 35 to go, under 100 miles remaining in this race as Justin Johnson now up 35 spots. He's up in front. There's Cameron Craighead. You just saw a glimpse of him a moment ago. And you know what's happening here? We now have scattered cars all over the 2.5-mile layout of Daytona, especially down at the home stretch of this race now, Chris.
Yeah, and we see some of our earlier leaders right here in front of Johnston right now, the 33 of Picklesmeyer right there, the 51 of King. I see one of the McCullough cars in this group as well. But the only thing working out really well for Johnston right now is he's in this pack of lap cars. He's able to draft around instead of driving around by himself. So he's saving a little bit of fuel. And he's not going to go another 34 laps, but he's still hanging on out there. He pitted way back on lap 135, and everybody else has already cycled in. So we're going to see what this 82's plan is, as he's pretty much on a strategy by himself, it looks like.
Really is, right? I mean, you're dead on it. There is a strategy where he's in his own world. He's making it work right now. And there's a lot of strategies, Chris, as we move into the home stretch of this race, right? I know it's a virtual simulation, but these guys are starting to make deals. There's let's make a deal. There's, hey, man, when this guy comes in, are you going to cover me? Are you going to now go with me? Are you going to hook up with me? Here comes the opportunities as more cars start to bob and weave, stay to the inside. There is Cameron Craighead. That's second place. Jackson Bice behind him. Justin Melikar, Chase Mastretta, all these cars now on that inside double yellow line to the back straightaway.
Yeah, this is going to be the fight for the lead. Craighead, Bies, Melikar, Mastretta, as you said right there, and they've all grouped up here. We had those four cars kind of separated out, but Baker has brought the rest of that group up there with him. Look at Baker back here behind Mastretta. He has got Michael Triscaro right there, and it looks like 78 of J.R. Miller.
He really is, right? And all this is going on again as we see these guys work their way back across the stripe, put another lap on the board. This is lap 167. 167, now 168 for the leader when he crosses the line. There's the leader crossing the stripe, but there's that big gaggle of traffic on the back straightaway. There's the interval, by the way. I'm just trying to give you a description, Chris, where in our audience of where Justin Johnson is and where Jackson Bison, Cameron Craighead, and others are. And by the way, Cameron Craighead just lost a lot of spots. He just fell back to 11th in that pack. Something happened to him. It's Jackson Bice now. The Bison's Toyota leading him off of turn 4 as he, again, 33 seconds back to Justin Johnson, who hasn't pitted, Chris, since lap 135. Everybody else pitted, just under 100 miles to go. They're ready to see this thing through.
Yeah, about the only help he had in that group with him, he had Dustin Cohen, who was a lap down, and pitted on lap 132. I thought they might pit together, but Cohen just pitted, so that leaves Johnson really hung out by himself. He really has no chance unless a caution comes out at this point. This is the fight for the lead. Jackson Byes, Justin Mellicar, Chase Mastretta. Craighead was at the front of this group, but I think he got a little bit loose, chased the car up the racetrack, and he shuffled back all the way back to about that 11th spot right now. And he's got Ethan Eckert in the 12 car, but here it is, Justin Johnson on the racetrack by himself. He's lost the draft of anybody right now, and I don't know what his strategy is here. Even if he gets a caution flag right now, I think he may have a hard time staying out in front of this. But we're going to see how this shakes out. You always see these when you get these long green flag runs. The green flag runs, you just don't know what's going to happen here.
To answer the chat or to respond to the comment from Dub God Wells, I mean, dude, that's a friggin' multi-billion-dollar company network. Obviously, Fox would have a better production than this. So I think you're giving Liam a hard time, is what I've just been told. So I'm going to leave you alone, Dub Godwells. Thank you for the comment. As right now the leaders work their way down the back straightaway. Justin Johnson in the lead. Jackson Bice, Justin Malacare, like Saved by the Bell, Saved by Liam, right there.
Wesley was ready to go full tilt on Dub God right there and just get all over. Hey, just don't get on my boy Liam for his work.
Chris, amongst everything else I do for a career as a broadcaster, I don't work for Fox Sports for television, but I do work for Fox Sports Radio, which is a subsidiary of them. And we got a caution on the racetrack. Enough about me. Yellow flag is out. Caution will fly for the 12th time. But I do work for Fox Sports Radio for coverage of college sports and whatnot. And,
is that Charlie Morgan in the 69?
We do got trouble. Charlie Morgan, did he mess up coming out of pit road? It looks like he's locked up the right front, Chris.
Yeah, that left front, it looks like left front might be dragging a little bit there too. So I'm not quite sure what happened right there. Didn't really have anything on my, but he's crab walking, as they like to call it. Let's see if we can happen to the 69. He's at the back of this draft right here. Let's see what happens.
Let's watch the replay here.
I'm just patiently. Oh, actually,
man,
that is Brandon Broadfoot.
Broadfoot? Oh my goodness, Brandon Broadfoot. And that's what happened.
Yeah, so Brandon up into the outside wall, bounced down, came across, and you can see the right front of that car locked up. Looks like he got a little bit of an off-center push. Turned Brandon sideways. He hits the outside wall hard. He comes down and collects the 69 to Charlie Morgan. Give me another look at it.
Another look at it. Let's go on board if we can, Liam. Let's go on board with, I believe, the 22. And there. Oh, my God. Oh, wow. There you are.
Yeah. It's the 51 of Zachary King. Got up and gave him a good shove through the tri-oval and then came back for a second shot. And it was just a little off kilter and caught that left rear quarter of the bumper and just turned Brandon up into the outside wall hard.
Doug Godwells just chimed in. I'm not going to repeat what his comment was, but he did say I'm giving Liam, you know what, shite. So he's giving him shite. Show the pace car more. Liam is needed. Well, there's the pace car. You wanted to see the pace car, Doug Godwells, and you see it now. So, hey, we're going to take a break. It is an absolutely perfect caution, and before we go to break, I was going to say that as well. He's going to stay right there with the pack. He's coming down to the pit lane, but he's not the only one. Justin Johnson, Dylan Jones, Cameron Craighead, the McCulloughs. Ryan Bailey, by the way, is going to climb back into the top 10. All of this going. The headlines, the stories, great pages of virtual racing history is about to be resumed as we near the home stretch of the Great Sim Race of America. It's the VPR Daytona 500 presented by Marathon Movers. We're going to take a break so you can too. The restart, maybe the finish when we come back from virtual Daytona. Be right back on DRSN. Guys, we had an audio issue. My apologies. We got that fixed, by the way. Less than 25 laps to go as the leaders work their way to the line. It is Jackson Bice in front up to the outside lane. Now we're starting to see another line form, single file. Wait a minute. We're going to go 3 wide. Bice, Mastrita, Malakar up to the banking, Chris, as they climb into turn 1.
We are down to the final 24 laps of this VPR 500. Bice still out in front. Mastretta right there. J.R. Miller down on the bottom of the racetrack trying to find a place to go. They're just wanting to crash now. It looks like Baker to the outside. He has got to run the 8 and the 33 go up to block that outside run. But here comes J.R. Miller on the bottom with a big shove from the 011 of Dylan Jones.
There's some pushing, there is shoving down to the inside. Here comes Mastrita. He gave a shove to Bice. Bice from the middle lane, from the top lane to the inside lane. Here comes the 8. Here comes Craighead. Hey, dude, up the middle. Somehow they hold it together as they throw the block on Bice in 1. Here he goes.
And who's out in the middle of the racetrack? Bice just all over trying to find that fastest line to the bottom, to the middle, to the top, just trying to block off any run he can. You think this was the last lap, not the 178th, but Bice out in front. Jones, Miller down there on the bottom. He is getting a push from the 10 of Bailey. Who is going to win this race? Can we go green? And I don't think we can keep this up for another 23 laps the way they're going at it there, Wesley.
Is brewing. We're about to have a Category 5 cyclone on the racetrack, and the Eugenia scale is going to take out, I think, half the field if something continues of this magnitude. Here they come out of turn 4, storming down to the line here in virtual Daytona. 22 to go, closing in on the final 50 miles of this one here. Jackson Bice, Matthew Baker, Chase Mastrita, Ethan Eckert, all these guys fighting for it. Dylan Jones has quietly rated in the top 5, and here comes Cody back in the mix with Craighead out of 2.
Eckert with a little bit of a push, got a little bit loose, goes up to the top of the racetrack. Nagel's going to get down on the bottom, but Eckert, I don't know how he found a hole in front of the 011 of Jones right there, but he is coming now in the 4 spot on that outside line. Watch that bottom of Cody Nagels, Craighead, and J.R. Miller right there in the 10 a bit. Baker all the way down to the bottom of the racetrack. He gets a block. Bias tried to come down to block that run up, but just a little too late for the 33.
But a little frustrated, the man that created this race now as they come to the line with the course heading to 20 laps remaining. And my TV, guess some guys are blind, go up and pass, but no, just ruined my race. Unfriggin' believable. And Brandon Broadfoot from Chico, California, out of this one is now Chase Mastrita. Got a big dirt track, cross over to the field, comes apart. Trouble, it's the big one. Cameron Craighead, McCullough, Bailey, other cars crashing. Do we stay under green or do we go caution? Right now, I think we're still green as they go in turn number 3. Now they're going to throw the yellow flag.
It looked like that might have started with the 78 of Miller. I'm not sure if he got a shove from behind, but that was the first car I saw turn sideways. We're going to go back and take a look. The big one happens here on lap number 180. We're going to go green here with about maybe 16 or 15 or 16 laps to go, but that was going to take out a bunch of good cars. Miller involved. Saw a couple of the McCulloughs involved as well. We're going to see if we can find a look at Ryan Bailey as well. So see if we can get a look here from the top. You see the 78 of Miller down on the bottom of the racetrack. Let's see what happens here. Oh, Baker gets a little bit of wiggle right there. Miller looks to the bottom.
It wasn't him. It was behind him. Watch this again. Look at that. Bailey and the Miller, McCullough, Cody Nagels. Do you see how close Nagels was? He could have just got collected in that accident there, Chris.
Yeah, I see some McCullough Motorsports there, the 05 and the 004, but it looked like Miller was trying to take a look. He saw that Nagels kind of checked up for that wiggle from Baker in front of him that forced Miller to look to the inside, but when he kind of came back up, it looks like he got caught there, got turned sideways. Let's take a look here one more time. Watch him take a look underneath the 6 here. And when he comes back up the racetrack, he just gets caught in the right rear by the 10 of Bailey, and that's what started this whole thing right there. Looks like some hard contact from the 05. Unfortunately for Bailey, I don't think he really hit anything hard, though.
No, that's actually Bailey in the 10, not Danica Patrick. So, maybe it's the virtual Natalie Decker, I guess, of today's world. So, nonetheless, back to the on-track action, though. And here's the deal. Watch the replay. This is on board with Cameron Craighead. And, Chris, this is why I thought we were going to stay under the green flag. The accident happens, right? They're all to the bottom of the apron of the racetrack. Now, mind you, they threw the caution, but I was thinking maybe these guys would stay on the inside. This would still be under green, and then they give them another lap to get back up to speed before we threw a yellow. But obviously, with all these cars involved, big names, they threw the caution.
Yeah,
Man.
I think there was enough cars involved right there. They threw the caution out. But it looked kind of to me, you know, if I was in Bailey's situation right there, he saw Miller get a little bit loose. And normally when you see a car do that on that back straightaway here, they end up down on the bottom of the racetrack. And I think Bailey was just coming forward thinking that perhaps the 78 Miller was just going to move out of his way and go down underneath the yellow line. But unfortunate contact right there. We are going to have ourselves a dash of about 16 or 17 laps when we go back to green. And our leader is going to be the 33 of Jackson Bice.
Under 50 miles remaining, 13th caution of this race here, and we near the end of this event. And by the way, the fuel strategy, Chris Murphy, I want you to talk to our audience again out there. We were talking about the fuel strategy when the restart happened. We had some audio issues. Put that ticker back up if you don't mind, Liam, and Chris kind of divulge in that, because I'm really believing that these drivers do have enough to go to the finish. And I think also being under caution, this saves fuel for them as well.
Yeah, we look at our last pit stop way back at the end of that last caution flag that we had, and you see your Bice taking a couple of tires, McCullough, Elliott with some repairs. But you know, I really thought maybe some of these drivers are taking 4 tires, like Eckert might be in a little bit of advantage, but it really hasn't seemed to pay off very much for him. And we also we take a look at our lap leaders here in this race. I think I've counted like 14 different lap drivers that have led this race. If you could throw that up for me, Liam. Take a look at, and I think we just had multiple different drivers. Let me see, I got to count that. Maybe about 10 or 12 different drivers. Cody Nagels led the most at 29, Matthew Baker 27, Joshua McCullough, John Ward, Jackson Bice, Justin Johnson have all led double-digit laps in this race. So we just had a lot of action back and forth, a lot of passing for the lead. And you know, as you were talking about there, Wesley, I think green flag. The gas mileage, fuel mileage here, I think we're going to be able to go the rest of the way. But, you know, what might come into play is if we end up with 3 green, white checkers, that might challenge our fuel mileage.
No, you're exactly right for sure. And we will see what happens. There is 3 attempts at overtime. I want to throw that out there. Obviously, the race is advertised for the Great Sim Race of America for the inaugural, PR 500 presented by Marathon Movers in Daytona, but there is 3 chances for overtime. So lights off on the pace car. The field will be coming back to the United Rentals restart zone and closing in on the final 35-40 miles of this race. 17 to go when they take the green flag. And the Bison, Jackson Bice, is leading the way. Chase Mastretta up there, 17 spots with a run for the number 8 machine. Matthew Baker from Texas is back to 3rd. Ethan Eckert, remember the stage 1 winner, he pocketed $50. He now sits in the number 4 spot. Cody Nagels is right there in 5th. Dylan Jones, Michael Barksdale, Michael Triscaro for PGR, Kenneth McCullough, Richard Elliott. Any of these guys, honestly, have the chance to be in it to win it as we get ready for a restart, closing in on 17 to go. Look at some cars playing catch up in the back. They took the wave around, and we'll be ready to turn this loose, Chris. It's about to be wild here, and I don't think we're done with the fireworks yet.
I don't think so either. You can see our team roster here. Eckert and Nagels right here running 4th and 5th. But it's going to be Jackson. Yeah, yeah. But Jackson Bice is going to bring us to the line. Mastretta and Baker and Eckert and the 6 of Nagel sitting back there lurking in that 5th spot. We're going to come to the line. We're going to have 16 laps left to go in this race. It is going to get woolly. It is going to get wild here, Wesley. I hope you got enough voice to bring us to the checkered, my friend.
Oh, man, I do this for a living. I promise you I'll be able to carry the pipes to the finish. And by the way, I don't think she's even worn up her pipes just yet. The fat lady hadn't even sung. It's about to get good in the neighborhood, and I don't mean at your local Applebee's. Here in virtual Daytona, DRSN, Jackson Bice ready to bring him back to the green flag. Mastretta, Baker, outside lane, gets a big launch on Cody Nagels on the inside as they climb the bank and then 1.
We just about crashed. I don't know how Baker fit in that hole between the 8 and the 12 right there, but he finds himself in 3rd on the outside line. We're 3 wide, about 5 cars back. Nagel's down there on the bottom of the racetrack. He looks to get a push from the 92 of Ward. Ward's going to leave him, go to the middle. He's got Craighead behind him, which is the 33, the 8, and the 5, and the 12 up on top. And look at the 11 of Dylan Jones. But here comes Ward with Cameron Craighead down on the bottom of the racetrack now. They've got the 84 of Melikar as well. Let's see if Bias comes down to block off that run on the bottom as they come off a corner.
That's the question. Will he block that run? Here comes another car pulling onto the pit lane. All this going on as the field funnels by across start finish. That's Ryan Bailey, by the way, the number 10. Back on the pit lane, he got a black flag. Meanwhile, Vice, Mastrita, they battle stride for stride. Looking on is Ward and Baker. So is Craighead and Eckert. Door to door, 4, 5, 3 rows, 3 wide behind them as they work the backstretch.
Mastretta now to the lead. It's going to leave Bias down on the bottom with Ward with the pusher. Baker there in the middle. Eckert there in the middle as well. Who's going to win the race into turn number 3? The 8's looking really good. That Jack Shack number 8 has got a good push from Matthew Baker. If you see that 5 car behind you, you know you got a good helper right there. A little bit of wiggle, and that's going to let the 33 of Bias get the lead as we come across the stripe now. It's going to be 15 laps left to go here, Wesley.
Jack Shack is on the attack. A little wiggle and a jiggle and a giggle and a bobble, and somehow they still keep forward momentum down into corner number 1. Bison, Vice, high side, pushed by the 8. Baker, Eckert getting now antsy. They're now trying to reel in this 2-car tandem. Meanwhile, Ward and Craighead, a 2-car tandem. All this happens down the back straightaway as we close in at lap 185.
And Eckert to the outside of Baker right there. He is going to pick up the 33 and the 8, the 51 at King. Involved in that caution here not too long ago. The 51 finds himself back up here in the top 5. He took a pass-through black flag penalty, 51. Somehow he worked his way all the way back up. He's sitting there in 4th. That outside line is really getting a good run. Bias still out in front. We come across the stripe one more time.
The Daytona VPR 500 presented by Marathon Movers is at the home stretch. We're closing in on the final 35 miles of this race. All the while, Jackson Bice in the lead. He's got the outside as his friend. Here comes now Dylan Jones. Creep, crawling, catfishing on the inside. The double yellow line. Here comes the 011 on the bottom.
Dylan Jones always going to be there at the end of these races right there, and he has got a good run. He has got Baker, and it looks like the 33. Oh, we got the 90. Is this the 004 McCullough involved again?
No, it's McCullough.
He is going to spin into turn number 3 all by himself in the grass. We are staying. Oh, we're crashing into 3 and 4.
We got a big crash now. Look out! Winkler's airborne. Other cars up in the fence. The 51. Somehow, Zachary King, Miller, Triscaro, Malakar, Cowan crashed out of turn 4. We were looking at McCullough at the bottom of the apron, and the big one happened as we came back to live picture in turn 4.
See some heavy damage there on the front of the J.R. Miller's number 78. It looks like looking at the leaderboard right now, it looked like it's about 5th on back, all involved in that. We're going to take a look at it here. But it looks like Miller, who's been running up front all day long with some problems. Melikar also involved. Let's take a look here. Right along.
By the way, after McCullough had problems in the 014, keep an eye on this. This happened. Look at that. The big one up in the air. Winkler, the WeatherTech car. The Fawns, as we call them. Hunter
Baker.
Winkler in the air. Other cars crashing. What a run for Michael Triscaro. He got caught up in the accident. And so many more, Chris.
I saw a little wiggle from Baker down on the bottom of the racetrack. Let's see what happens here. Oh, King comes down. That kind of gets Baker loose. He's trying to collect the car, and he is going to get...
Matthew Baker took a shot from the back from the 33, fishtailed his car, and he turned into the pack.
But it looked like,
man, what a heartbreak there.
From what I saw the 51 of King get loose, come down the racetrack, made enough contact with Baker to get him loose, put him down kind of underneath the yellow line. When he tried to come back up, it kind of checked up a little bit and got run into the back of right there. So I think the initial contact between the 51 and the 5 was really what started that incident. As you can see, we just got a parking lot coming off of turn number 4.
Open up a virtual Waffle House. We're virtually scattered, smothered, and covered in the metal omelet mayhem of destruction in turn 3 and 4. Watch this again. What a hit. Look at them all pile in from there. Liam in the truck, my friend, and I know it's not Fox. If you could, let's see the replay on board front windshield of the 5 of Baker. And I think this again, Chris, will have an opportunity to tell the tale as the virtual seagulls fly by here to put us under our 13th caution. Watch this again.
We can see Baker right here on the bottom of the racetrack, a little wiggle. And he just comes back up the racetrack. I think there was a little, I'm hearing there might have been a little more initial contact as they came into 3 before the King and Baker made more contact in turn number 4. But unfortunate there. Where are we at in this race here? We've got 12 laps left to go. We're going to probably go green with 10. The way they were racing it there, Wesley. So here we see the 50. Oh, the 51 got a little bump off the nose. Yeah, so it looked.
Is this we're on board with? Is there a way we can?
Is this Joshua McCullough?
This is Joshua McCullough, we're being told in our ear. There's Cowan's car. Liam, can we show what it was like on board the 17 of the Fonz, Hunter Winkler? This should be a fun one.
Yeah, so
out of turn 4.
Looked like that initial contact was McCullough into the 51, got him loose. You'll see it up here on the outside.
Take a listen to this.
Oh, there you go. So McCullough gets into the 51. He forces the 51 down into Baker. That's a hard shot for Winkler.
I'm in the wall. This ain't good, guys. He did, by the way, bicycle through the air as well as the right and the left front tires came up off the ground. He did a 360, no washing machine needed. Come out the spin cycle, all tore up from the floor up. There's a look at it again. This is with Malakar's car. Malakar, I think, was like, do I go high? Do I go low? How the hell do I miss this? I think he's okay. I mean, he might have flat spotted the tires, Chris, but he didn't get damaged. I mean, that might be actually a pretty smart strategy. That's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
I'm not sure what was going on with Malakar. He looked like he was kind of losing it by himself coming into 3 and then just ended up spinning when he got to the accident.
And now, amongst all that, Liam, I don't know if we can go back and show you what happened to the Goodrich car of Christopher McCullough, as he was the driver that we first saw do a little off-road, recreational racing before the big one happened. Watch this. This was McCullough's car, the GM Goodrich Service Plus 004 on the back straightaway. Is he crab walking through the apron of the racetrack? I think he is, Chris.
He's that's pretty fortunate for Chris McCullough that the other incident happened, because he's going to be able to catch up to the field. Otherwise, he was going to be way out of the draft right there. And
this is why Malakar was every which way but loose, like the monkey in the movie with Clint Eastwood. The same thing for him on the track in the 84. Watch this.
Oh, a little bit
this is why Malakar was driving the way he was there. There's always a story from the beginning to end there, Chris, and there it is. Yeah. There's always a reason, right?
Yeah, it looked like Malakar tried to do a late block there on Elliott, just a little bit too late, and that's kind of what started that first part of the incident. But that second one was just a completely different incident in its own. And unfortunately, I see Matthew Baker still sitting down in the pits, so the 5 cars had a good run all day. Might be out of a chance to win this race.
Heartbreak for Baker as well, as we'll get ready to try to get you back underway. The Bison, Jackson Bice, the Jack Shack entry. Chase Mastrita ready to go as we'll get ready to go back to green flag. Dylan Jones, Ethan Eckert. They're coming to the line, ladies and gentlemen. This will be lap number 190. That means there's 25 miles left in the VPR Daytona 500. The great sim race of America nears the home stretch on DRSN. Green flag back in the air. The Bison, Jackson Bice, his Toyota on the gas and gone in turn 1.
And we started with 43 cars in this VPR 500 a few hours ago. We're down to 18 cars right now. 17 on the lead lap. Jackson Bice, Chase Mastretta, Ethan Eckert, Cameron Craighead, now the top 4. Is we're going to go 10 laps left to go when we came back. Oh, there goes around the 82 there of Johnston.
Well, a trigger a caution. There's Johnson's car, and he got some more cars collected. Another car off the racetrack, including will stay green flag. So here we go. Johnson out of it. Here they come. They'll come to single digits now. Less than 25 miles remaining. 475 miles under. Coming to the line, completed in the 500 to the stripe. Look at this gaggle of traffic. It's a big wad behind the Bison, Mastrita. And remember, stage 1 winner, Ethan Eckert, in it to win it as our single file climbing the bank and into 1.
Dylan Jones really trying to get that bottom line working. He's got the 02 of Richard Elliott and the 004 of McCullough, who was fortunate for that caution flag. Look at the middle. Oh, a little bit of wiggle there from Bice. He gets a little bit of an off-center push there from Mastretta. We're 3 wide coming across down the back straightaway here. It is still buys out in front. Mistretta there in the second spot. Eckert coming across in the third spot in the number 12.
Was that popular song back in 2019, 2020? You got to wiggle it, wiggle it, wiggle it. You got to wiggle it. But you don't want to cause the car to dirt track itself and spin around a little wiggle wobble and a giggle and a jiggle as they work off the corner. Look at Cameron Craighead. He got sideways for just a moment as they had tried to stick it 4 wide. They're in the shadows now, fighting the sun back into the corner. It's now the Bison holding them on. Here comes now help. Eckert, Craighead. They pull to the bottom, up the bank and again and one, Chris.
Side by side for second spot, but Bies looks pretty in command right now. He's running that bottom line. Watch him move back and forth. He's going to see that outside line come moving. He'll jump to the top, but he has got the 12 of Eckert in tow, the 48 of Craighead. And look at the 6 of Nagels. Nagels led a lot of this race early, was up in the front of the pack, kind of fell back, stayed out of trouble. He has now worked his way back up, as we're going to come across the line with 7 laps left to go.
Fans of the Racing Virtual Hourglass are running short as the glass is getting empty. Laps are winding down. Awesome angle from start finish, crossing the stripe now. 7 laps to go. Count it, 7 remaining. Look at this big gaggle of traffic separated from 1st to 13th by not even 0.6 of a second. Any of these guys could win as they work off 2.
13 cars in this lead pack. You are 100% correct, Wesley. Any of these guys could win it. I see J.R. Miller still back there in the back with a little bit of damage, but he's in there. And surprisingly enough, I think I see, Matthew Paker has lost the draft. I thought he was still in this pack. We're 3 wide in the middle of the pack. It looks like Craighead down there on the bottom. The 004 looking to get to the front. McCullough Motorsports looking to lead this race. Christopher McCullough trying to get by Jackson Buys down the back straight, through the front straight. Head through the tri-oval here one more time. It is Jackson Buys, Ethan Eckert, Chase Mistretta, Christopher McCullough. Look at Nagels down on the bottom. Oh, Christopher McCullough gets loose.
Look at this, and down below McCullough's car, he's got to check up. He'll stay to the inside. Somehow they'll hold on to it. They'll work that back straightaway. It is Bice, it is Eckert, all the while down the backstretch, keeping them now side by side as they rumble up against the outside safer barrier. They're coming to the line, this time by. It'll be 5 laps to go from the virtual flagman Barney's 4 fingers and a thumb from the starter stand. Jackson Bice ready to make it rain. He's got dollar signs on the brain for the Bison in the inaugural VPR Daytona 500 presented by the Marathon Movers. To the stripe, into the shadows. Bison Chris working on, but here comes everybody getting greedy behind them. They want money too as they go into 1.
It's $500 for the winner of this race. Jackson Buys wants to take that paycheck home. Ethan Eckert right there. Look at the bottom, still trying to get grouped up as Craighead and the 6 and Nagels down there with Dylan Jones as well. That out bottom line has got a good run off of 2 down the back straightaway. Can they get the lead into 3? Nagels looks to the middle. Craighead blocks it off, but it still Buys out in front in the 33.
He goes high, he goes low. He's trying to find any opportunity he can. This race has gone for almost 3.5 hours, and now as it nears the home stretch, it is now coming down to 13 cars in their own world, in it to win it, to the line. 4 laps to go. That is 10 miles remaining. 490 miles completed the 500, and it's the Bison's Toyota. Jackson Bice leading again over Ethan Eckert as they go into turn 1 and 2.
Oh, they're going to crash right here. Get up from the
John Ward. He got hit from the back. Dylan Pickelsheimer collected. Other cars involved. Caution is out. It will fly, and we're going to overtime in the 500.
It looked like Nagels and Craighead made a little contact. Craighead wiggled a little bit, went up the racetrack, collected John Ward right there. We'll take a look here at the replay. And you can see the 48 chasing the car up the racetrack and collects Ward, collects the 33 of Picklesmeyer. Melikar, I know I said his name wrong, but unfortunate for John Ward. He had a good car all day long. Looks like he's going to take a little bit of damage. We'll see if he can get repaired here.
The late, great mentor and friend of mine, Ken Squire, used to say, Chris Murphy, says we are now going into overtime. Put your teeth in your pocketbook, Grandma. This is going to be a rough one. And I believe it is about to get that way with overtime now hanging in the balance to decide the winner of the VPR 500.
Yeah, we look at. Go back and take one more look here. It looks like the 6 of Nagels was going to look to make a run through the middle of the racetrack. Craighead kind of goes up the block maybe a little bit later to see the 6 with a run. Nagels tries to move up the racetrack to block him. They make contact. That sends the 48 up to the top, into the 92, collects the 84, the 33 all involved. Who's that getting woed up right there, right behind that? I can't tell who that is, but nice job. The 00 Barksdale, nice job avoiding that accident as Ward spins back around. So it looked like maybe a little bit of a late block there from Craighead might have caused that incident as he went off the nose of the 6. We got green-white checkered. Is that what you said, Wesley? We're going to have green-white checkered?
I think we're getting ready for overtime, my friend. And as I said, it's going to be a wild one. Shootout coming up here in Daytona. And remember, three attempts at overtime. And remember, Chris, they've got to take the white flag. If they don't take the white flag, we re-rack them, restack them, and go again. Yes, sir.
These leaders pitted back on lap 161. Eckert might be in the best condition right here. He pitted on 172. So if we get 2 or 3 attempts at this green-white checker, do these leaders have enough fuel? So we've gone 38 laps now since their last pit stop. We got some drivers pitting right now.
Yeah, these guys had damage, or they're wrecked, or they're coming for service, or they don't think they can make it. But for the front runners, for that matter, up in that front pack, Chris, I think for the runners that win it, okay, Ethan Eckert 172, Dylan Jones 172, Miller Malakar 188. Okay, those guys are fine. McCullough, Johnston, they're fine, but they got damage. They're in the back. Okay, but for the guys that pitted at lap 161 up in the top 5 right now, if we get 2 or 3 attempts at overtime, I think there's going to be a cause of concern to have to come down to the pit lane. Can we at least get 1 attempt at overtime? Yes, I think they'll go the distance. If we get a caution and we go into double overtime, we're going to see those guys come down to the pit lane. I really believe that's going to happen. It'll be a splash and go, and this might take the strategy away for them to lose the race, too.
Well, we got started this race with 43 cars. You're looking at 12 cars on the racetrack at the moment. Matthew Baker, Ryan Bailey, Dylan Picklesimmer, and Kenneth McCullough all on pit road getting some repairs done. I see Dustin Cohen a lap down. Craig has now a lap down. Joshua McCullough also a lap down at this point. So I think we've got 12 drivers here with a chance to win this race. And if you look up here at the front, some of the favorites that started this race with Ethan Eckert, Jackson Byes, Cody Niegels, Dylan Jones, all right there. Chase Mastretta. I think it's going to come down to one of those 5 drivers if they don't pile it up somewhere between in the next couple of laps here.
And remember, obviously, Ethan Eckert was the stage 1 winner of the race. He pocketed $50. And then, of course, stage number 2 went to the driver there of Cody Nagels, right? He got himself $50, the man out of Rolla, Missouri. And he's right there in it to win it. So many other great cars. How about Miller? At one time, Miller was on the tail end of the lead lap. He was fighting with the lead lap cars to stay on the tail end and hold on. We just saw how really good his car was, not only in the draft as a car on the tail end of the lead lap, a lap down. He worked his way back in this race. He could win. He's in 5th. Ethan Eckert up 38 spots in 2nd. Richard Elliott up 34 spots in 8th. Just some of these guys that are about ready to re-rack them, restack them. Well, here you go, buddy. It's about to be a restart here, and the overtime attempt will be at lap 200. They will go for overtime attempt number 1 to decide the inaugural Great Sim Race of America, the VPR 500 from Daytona, presented by Marathon Movers. What is the mindset, Chris, as these guys are the remaining 14 cars maybe that are obviously on the lead lap that could win this thing?
Well, you're looking for your teammate right here. You're looking for who's helped you all day long. And if you look at Nagels right there, he has got the 12 in front of him. He's got his teammate in the 011, Dylan Jones, a couple spots back. Jackson Byes right there with Chase Mastretta behind him. And I just saw Matthew Baker in the 5, and Dylan Picklesimmer also make it out of the pit road, not lose a lap. So they got some repairs. They're trying to catch up to the back of this field. So we're going to have 16 cars. 16 cars in this pack, all in the lead draft. But does Baker take too much damage, and was he able to get enough prepared here to have a shot? We're going to roll through turn number 3 here. It's going to be Byes, Eckert, Mastretta, and Nagels bringing us to the line. Watch that 78. He's been aggressive all day long, too, as you mentioned, Wesley. Let's see what he can do here in this green-white checkered attempt here in overtime.
Virtual Daytona, and as the quote from the late Harry Hogg, played by Robert Duvall, who passed away this past week, said, Cole, you better be in max speed when the green flag drops, and those guys in the back marker positions better climb like Picklesheimer and others. Overtime, attempt number 1. They've got to take the white flag. If not, we re-rack them, restack them as we approach the 11 o'clock Eastern time hour. Back to overtime in Daytona. Green flag will fly. The Bison. It is Jackson Bison down to the inside. He gets a great launch. It's an awesome orbit for Mastrita and Jones. The draft is after him. They're climbing the bank, and there's contact. Chase Mastrita gets into Eckert. He gets sideways. Ward gets spun, and now McCullough gets collected. Caution out. We're going to do a double overtime.
It looked like the initial contact there was Dylan Jones and Chase Mastretta. I didn't see exactly what happened, but that's what started it right there. And unfortunately, some more cars piled up. I don't know if Baker took some more damage there in the 5. He's kind of limping along, but John Ward definitely did. The 92 was another hard contact on the outside wall. John's just kind of been in the wrong place a lot of times here today, but he has been a fast race car.
And how about this, Chris? What a save by Dylan Jones. I know we want to watch the accident on the replay. Look at this now as they're working in turn 1. But watch the save on that car that just dropped to the apron. There's the contact. Chase Mastrita from contact there with Nichols and Miller and Ward. And there goes McCullough getting a piece of it again. John Ward, another, being there at the end, but just cannot finish. How about Picklesheimer going in the grass to avoid him? John Ward says, I got you, buddy. I'll give you a little love tap under caution on the apron of the grass. Oh, my goodness.
John Ward just about missed that accident, but got collected as 8 was coming back up the racetrack. It looked to me, I saw, see if we take a look here again. I saw Jones kind of take a look under Mastretta. He's down there on the bottom. I don't really think he moved up the racetrack. I think Mastretta might have came down just a little bit there is what started that contact, because Jones did have a good look going into 1. And that was definitely the contact that started this incident here that's going to send us to a second shot at overtime.
Double overtime. Now, my question is this, and you asked this question as well. I think we're going to see these guys come down to the pit lane. I really do. Here's a look at it again. Watch the replay. Watch Dylan Jones. Contact in the driver door of Mastrita. Mastrita goes up the hill into Ethan Eckert, the stage winners. Crash right there. Cody Nichols is able to continue. Nichols in the 6. And then again, McCullough, John Ward, Picklesheimer, and a Partridge in a pear tree, all caught up in this accident down in the apron and the apex of 1 and 2. How badly is John Ward's car? Could he be okay? The question is now, the $1 million question or the $500 question. Are you coming down to the pit lane, Bice, Jones, Nichols, Miller? We're going to find out. The verdict is... No. They can maybe go another overtime. Eckert's coming in, though. But remember, Ethan Eckert got caught up in the accident, so he has to come down and possibly look and see if he's got any time to get fixed, and he'll take on fuel as well. But for the front runners of that Murphy, they're going to come down. And no, they're not. They stay on the racetrack, and I think they could at least go for another chance at it overtime. I don't know, though. They might be running the tank dry here. Chris, they might run out of fuel on the last lap going into turn 3. It's going to be close.
But Jackson Bice finds himself out in front of this race, right? Well, I'm not going to say finds his way. He's worked his way to the front of this pack. He pitted back on lap 161. He's got 42 laps on his tank of fuel. Can he go another 4 laps here? He's going to at least have to go around one more time under the caution. We're down to like 11 cars on the racetrack right now. Matthew Baker, Chase Mastretta, Kenneth McCullough, John Ward, Ethan Eckert, all in the pits right now. And John, I really feel bad for John Ward right there. He put himself in a position to have a chance to win this race. And if you go back and see that caution, I want to go back and replay it again. But if you looked at it again, he was almost clear of it. He just about got through, and then the 8 car Mastretta come up, caught him in the left rear, and that was. I'm sure that's going to be quite a bit of damage there on the back of the 92. As it's a pretty hard shot, and I can almost see that left rear tire actually looks like it might have broke a trailing arm because it's kind of leading towards the back right there.
You're exactly right. And we will get ready for double overtime. I just want to throw that out there to our audience that's watching. Jackson Bice, Dylan Jones. And can I say something, Chris? If
Yeah,
this guy wins the race, or if we had a hard charger or move of the race, it would have to go to the Steel Machine Ford of Dylan Jones. That move he made, pulling to the inside of the racetrack when all that chaos was happening behind him or in front of him, is the reason why I believe that guy's got a chance to win this race. What a phenomenal job Dylan Jones has done. That's the orange and white Steel Machine, got the racing stripes in orange of that white car, that Ford. If he wins this race, it's going to be because of a move that he made just like that to get it done.
Yeah, Jackson Bice is one of the best blockers in the game up right there. He's going to bring us to the line here, and we're still questioning whether he has enough fuel right there behind him. Cody Nagel's only pitted one lap after he did, so they're both going to have to be pretty tight. We come across the line, 1 lap left to go. We are going to take one more attempt to finish this race. We've got a total of 2 more left. Can we get to the checkered flag here on this next restart, Wesley?
Well, let's reset it for you, my friend. Jackson Bice, the Bison Toyota, leads the way, man. He's ready to obviously be the Pied Piper. Dylan Jones back in second, ready to steal this thing, if you will, in that Steel Machine, pardon the pun. Cody Nagel, Stage 2 winner. That Chevrolet from Rolla, Missouri, sits in third. J.R. Miller, here's a sleeper I think we could watch. Justin Malakar. How many times has Malakar been caught up in accidents or involved in an accident or have a spin or have a technicality or a hiccup on the pit lane? He's back in the top 5. Michael Barksdale with problems earlier in this race in the 500. Ryan Bailey, jokingly, we mentioned that maybe that might have been Natalie or Danica Patrick in the 10. But even through that, Chris Murphy, Ryan Bailey has found 7th. Richard Elliott, a quiet night for him, up 35 spots in 7th. And look at Dylan Picklesheimer. Does this guy got 9 lives, 9 pickles like a cat? He is literally right back in the 9th position. And Christopher McCullough, too. Anybody could win this thing here, Chris. And we're getting ready for double overtime. They're coming to green this time by.
Yeah, watch that 12 car starting back there in the 12 spot right now. Ethan Eckert, he is going to be coming in a hurry. He just pitted here. We're going to see he's one of the hardest chargers in this field to see if he can get his way to the front. But my bet is going to be either Jones, Nagels, or Bice at this moment. We're going to see what happens. Watch that 78. You mentioned him. J.R. Miller has been up there all day long. Does he have anything left here to win this race? We're going to go green here as the pace car is going to make a hard left-hand turn into pit road.
Here they come. The field will work to the line. This is double overtime, extra racing in the VPR 500, presented by Marathon Movers. Green flag back out. Dylan Jones in the Steel Machine trying to steal the race again from the Bison. Jackson Bice, a little wiggle there, and he is dead center on the tailgate as they work their way up the banking in turn number 1 and 2.
And a 6-car Nagels with no help on the bottom of the racetrack. The top is pulling away. Eckert's going to come up and give the 6 a big jump off a 2. Let's see if they can help anything, and that's going to get Nagels moving back forward. But Eckert's still teaming up with him. We're going to head down the back straightaway into turn number 3. If we can make it to the stripe, the next flag will end this race. It is Bice, Jones, Miller, Barksdale to the bottom, Mellicar underneath of him. They're going to go 3 wide, and they're going to make some contact, and around Barksdale's going to go.
Bailey involved. Barksdale. Cody Nagels has got a piece of it. So did the 0-2 on the bottom.
We're going to stay green.
And they're going to say green flag. We are not under caution. No, they are going to throw yellow. We're under yellow. We're going.
One to go.
No, they're saying no caution. White flag is out. 1 more lap to go. 1 to go. The leaders are now 3 cars for the victory. Final time in the VPR 500. Bison final time in 2.
It's Bice, Jones, and Miller. This is our top 3 right here. It's going to come down to one of these 3 drivers. So they're going to head down into the 3rd corner. Let's see if who's going to make a move. Dylan's looked to the outside. Jones to the outside of Bice. He's got Miller giving him a push. Who's Miller going to go with? He is going to go with Jones on the outside. He's kind of dancing around back there. Can't decide who to help. It is Bice and Jones side by side, heading through 3 and 4, coming to the line.
They're wrecking in the back, but nonetheless, here comes the Steel Machine trying to steal the 500 from the Bison, or maybe J.R. Miller. He's right dead on the center. Will he pull in line? He will not. Give the inaugural 500 to the Steel Man. Dylan Jones, move of the race to miss the wreck, stealing the race from, of course, the Bison, and it's over. Dylan Jones wins the inaugural VPR Daytona 500, presented by Marathon Movers at the Virtual World Center of Racing in double overtime. They were wrecking in other parts of the racetrack, But when it's said and done, they kept it green. They raced on, and Jones does it. What a finish, Chris. Dylan Jones steals one in the still machine. That'll be your virtual headlines when the race is a memory, and we do it again next year for the second annual edition.
Jackson led a lot of that race. It was his race to win down the back straightaway, but in all reality, it was Miller. It was J.R. Miller who decided who was going to win that race. Who is he going to go with? Jones took a look to the outside of Bias. Miller kind of danced around. He couldn't decide who to go with there for a little bit. Then he finally decided to tuck up behind the 011 of Dylan Jones and push him to the lead, heading into turn number 3 and off of 4, going to give himself second. Jackson Bias has just got to be heartbroken right there. He led a lot of this race late, is going to come home on the podium, but definitely not where he wanted to be.
Seen this happen for a guy like Jackson Bice for these big money races. Matthew Baker, just some of these strong contenders, right? But the old cliche is to first win the race, you must first finish. The chaos, the craziness, the calamity. What do we have? 16 cautions, I think, in the 500 this year for this inaugural event. But when it's said and done, Dylan Jones makes the move. I don't know if we can go back for the restart or at least come back to the white flag after their wrecking and show that finish, especially that move with the draft down the back straightaway. I know Dylan Jones is celebrating in his Ford, but Mr. Maestro, producer / announcer / guy covering things, Liam, here it is, Chris. They're coming to the white flag. We thought there was going to be a caution. They said, no, we're going to keep this thing green. White flag. Set us up, Chris. How did Dylan Jones make the move around Bison? What did Bison do right or wrong that cost him the race from Dylan Jones in the end?
Well, they come down off of turn number 2. They're going to head into 1 and 2 right here. Bice with a good run up on the top of the racetrack. He is blocking off that run on the top from Jones and from Miller. Comes off of turn number 2. It's going to come down about the middle here a little bit. It's going to open up that outside line for Jones. But Bice is going to stay in the middle so he can go to the bottom or the top. Jones takes a look to the outside, and it's just too fast of a move for Bice to go up and block it. Now you see the 78. He goes down to push the 33. Jumps back up to push the 11. He's kind of dancing around back there. He doesn't know where to go, but then he finally decides to go with Jones, gives him a big shove off of 4, and Bice just has nothing to fight with. And Jones going to come across the line with a win in this inaugural race. Miller's going to come home, take home the money for second. Bice in third, and I think Bice just a little bit too late trying to get up and block that. I think they just came up on him a little quicker than he expected.
I believe, honestly, J.R. Miller was happy with silver, right? I mean, you notice when they come to the flag, he never tried to push out of line. He never tried to break out of line, but because I think he was content with pushing the 0-1-1 of Dylan Jones to the finish. Here is the results for the inaugural VP R500 from Daytona, presented by Marathon Movers at the Virtual World Center of Racing. Coming up post-race, the $500 winner, Dylan Jones. We'll chat with him, maybe get thoughts from promoter Brandon Broadfoot in closing, and grab the podium, obviously, as I'm just going off of SDK as they put up the results. You see it scrolling on the top, and we give you the full field rundown, Chris. I'll go top 10. You grab the other top 10. Dylan Jones is the winner. J.R. Miller will finish in second. Jackson Bice, who led most of this race, disappointingly, will finish in third. Justin Melikar, even with all the bad luck, Melikar will still finish in the top 5 and fourth. Ryan Bailey with a top 5. Tough break for Texas driver and friend Matthew Baker. His Texas machine number 5 will settle for 6th. Chase Mastrita as well, 7th. Christian McCullough, 8th. Michael Barksdale is 9th. And Justin Johnson, Chris, will round out the top 10.
Kenneth McCullough is going to come home in 11th. Ethan Eckert had a good run, but ended up going to have to settle for the 12th spot. Dylan Picklesmeyer in the 13th. Cody Nagels had a shot to win this race late. He's going to come home in 14th. John Ward, 15th. Richard Elliott in the 02 in the 16th spot. Dustin Cohen and Cameron Craighead are going to round out our 18-car field. But I believe we had maybe 19 finish. I think 19th place running car was Joshua McCullough. Everybody else ended up out of this race.
And guys, multiple cars. I'll knock it out for you. I don't think they can go to the next page, but I'll knock it out for you. Michael Triscaro, a top runner, crashed. Zachary King also was a good car. He crashed out 22nd. William Brenton, Hunter Winkler, a top 25 for Charlie Morgan. Promoter Brandon Broadfoot will settle for 26th. Canadian friend of the North, Jason Dinsmore, will finish 27th. Corey Powell, 28th. Mason Olney, 29th. And James Waring finishes in the top 30. Nick Herblett, Christian Rhodes, Sam Horst, Sean Corbett, Daniel Falkingham, a top runner of eNASCAR, big races and more, fell out in 35th. Daniel Reardon follows, or Mitchell Reardon, Jacob Booth, Carson Freeman, Larry McDonald, and Buster Malcolm, the top 40. Jeff Merck, Jeff Glockner of the 42 drivers. That's the unofficial results, pending anything in post, but I think it's going to be okay for the inaugural VPR Daytona 500 presented by Marathon Movers. The great sim race of America goes to the steel man and the steel machine of Dylan Jones. And I will say this before we go to break and get post-race interviews underway on DRSN, Chris. I've had the privilege to call some big money races on iRacing, and I've seen bad luck happen for Dylan Jones as well. On this night, the stars aligned for this man to ironically steal the show in the still machine. We're taking a break on DRSN. It's the Digital Racing Sports Network. When we come back, we talk to the drivers on the podium next from Daytona.
this, Liam? All right, should be back.
Back here, guys, and I guess we're going to try to do this over again. We had a great interview going on with Dylan Jones, but it didn't go out over the broadcast. Sorry about that. Let's go back and rewind and started talking 100 miles an hour in reverse. But Dylan Jones, congratulations, man. What a way to steal the show in the still machine. And as I was saying when we didn't have audio, but I think we've got it back now, this is probably one of the biggest wins in your iRacing career. I've called a lot of your big sim races, and normally you do get the short end of the stick. You get crashed out. Something happens. You're the big man. You get the $500 payday. What's going through your mind, buddy? Congratulations.
Just we survived another one, like I said, the steel machine was made out of steel tonight, and just survival and luck, and that's kind of how I run my races, survival and luck. So it's probably not the best way to run them, but it works for me.
Well, luck paid off for sure right there. Yeah, that little incident with Mistretta, you survived that one, kept going, and the 78 behind you there coming off of turn number 2, he decided, if you go back and watch this replay, Dylan, you're going to watch JR. He couldn't decide who to go with. He was going behind you, down behind Jackson, back and forth, but he finally settled behind you and helped you get that run along the outside of the 33 coming off of 2.
Yeah, I owe JR all in the world for that. I mean, honestly, whoever he picked, he probably finished his second. So I'm just glad he picked me, I guess, because put me in first place, and thought he would make a move, but I guess he didn't want to risk it, and I probably would have made the same decision, honestly.
Dylan, I'm trying to think of the same questions that we asked when we didn't have the audio. It's back up and going now. And
I had a good interview. It's rare for me. Dang it.
Please thank your sponsors in this segue, but I got to ask you, dude, what was the strategy to survive this race? Because I noticed you kind of hung in the back. When was the right time to come to the front, and what a daring move when you made that move on the outside routine. And while we're watching it on the replay now up against the safer barrier, you go to the outside, you can't hold it, right? Robert Duvall, Harry Hogg from Days of Thunder, passed away earlier this week, and that was one of his famous lines to Cole Trickle. Was you thinking that if I go to the outside, I can get around Jackson, I can carry Miller with me and win this thing?
Yeah, I mean, even if he didn't go with me, I wanted the outside because at the least I can try to side draft him. Slow, maybe you get second even if he goes with him there. I don't know, but coming to the line, you want to get to the guys outside. I was kind of surprised he gave me the outside. You kind of shade it down and kind of gave it up right there. So thankfully, and then I think we did a little door banging, but it was all okay.
Sponsors, and enjoy the $500 payday, sir.
Yes, sir. Just a big thanks to Bradford and all the guys at Variety Pack Racing for putting this on. I'm sure they would have wished we had a few less cautions. You guys probably did too, but huge thanks for the broadcast and all the drivers, and big thanks again to JR Miller, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, you always remember your first day of school, your first kiss, your first girlfriend, your first marriage, sometimes your first divorce, and your first ever virtual or reality win. And the inaugural winner of the VPR Daytona 500 presented by Marathon Movers is the still machine that stole the show. Dylan Jones wins here at Daytona. Dylan, thank you. Let's grab now JR Miller. This driver climbed 20.
Sorry,
still was able to have a solid finish to finish in the number 2 position. JR Miller, I called you my dark horse of the race, man, and by God Almighty, you come so close to winning. Was there no power to get around Jones? Was the car used up? And nothing wrong with Silver, right?
No, I mean, I'll take a runner-up to Dylan. I mean, he's a good guy to be racing with, and I just had a lot of front-end damage. I think I still had 6.5 minutes of damage from one of those previous cautions. So I was just going to stick with Dylan and push him all the way there and not risk, wrecking him or wrecking anymore. I seen the wreck happen out behind us. So I knew it was going to be a podium finish for us. So I'm just happy to come home second. I mean, just told Dylan he owes me on the next one.
Well, JR, you had a great run. You come off a 2 right there. You got Dylan right in front of you and Jackson down on the bottom. It looked like you were a little indecisive who you were going to go with. What made you finally decide to go up to the top side with Dylan?
Well, I mean, I was going to commit to him, and then I didn't know if Jackson was going to like really tight side draft him and maybe put him in the wall. So that kind of left me an option to dive down below if those two got together. So, but once I seen he had him cleared, I was committed to Dylan 100%.
Tell you what, JR, that car has been through the ringer today, right? What's it mean to come out of the first ever race second? And if you had to go back and do it over again, as we're watching the replay of the final lap, what would you have done different to try to win this thing?
If I didn't have that damage, I might have tried to make a run on Dylan, but it's just good to be back up front in these races. I took some time off, had a shoulder replacement surgery here just recently, so I took some time off the sim, and I'm just now starting to get back into it and trying to run these races. So it's nice to finally make, one of these big races. I missed PGR's 500 this year, unfortunately, and been running some other promotions, but yeah, it feels good. Feels good to be up there.
Well, listen, before I let you go, JR, please thank your sponsors, and nothing wrong with second place, man. Welcome back.
No, just want to thank, Michael Triscaro at PGR Esports. He's the one that recruited me to be on the team years ago. And so it's nice to get him up to their front. Thanks for Matt Baker, Kid Bake, for the paint on the car, representing Brian Burkhofer from Iowa. That's where I'm from. And, just thank you guys for broadcasting.
The Muscatine Madman, my friend. I've done a lot of dirt racing with World of Outlaws and Dirt Car, and as soon as you said Brian Burkhofer, definitely there's that Kaiser Manufacturing wrap job for that man right there from, of course, that number 78 of J.R. Miller. Well, let's go down to third place and grab the driver that will finish on the podium. Jackson Bice, the Bison, the Toyota number 33 will settle for bronze. Jackson, your take of this race, obviously you had such a strong car, a lot of great saves, a lot of great restarts. The momentum shifted at the end. Did you have a feeling that storm was brewing, and what's your thoughts of finishing third, buddy?
I don't know. I kind of hate how that race finished. I mean, I led the last 30 laps of the race and didn't lead the one that matters, so I guess leading laps doesn't matter anymore. But I mean, when the whole field wrecks in 3, and there should be a caution for that, and I don't understand why that wasn't thrown. And with 2 teammates lined up behind me, and me being by myself, there's nothing I can really do about it. Had JR not have been with him, I think I win that race, or JR makes a 3 wide move, and we're all sitting there 3 wide coming to the start finish line. So I don't know. I wish it wasn't teammates lined up behind me. I would have rather seen it just 3 cars battle it out.
Yeah, I think we're also a little surprised that caution didn't come out there late, but you came off with 2 right there. You're kind of, it's one of the worst places to be. You got 2 cars lined up behind you. Is there anything you think you could have done just a little bit different, or anything to keep Dylan behind you at that point?
Nah, Dylan's a really good racer. I mean, and when you're in that scenario where your objective is to make that move on the white flag, there's not a lot of blocking you can do, because as long as he pulls out of line and he commits to that, and he doesn't just kind of shade out of line, or he's kind of hesitant about pulling out, I can't block it if he fully commits to it. So he was fully committed to pulling out of line, and there was no blocking I could do for it. The only option was to just slow him down, and I did a good job of that. And I guess in 3, it got a little bit netcodey between me and him, and it just parked me.
I've called a lot of the big races that Jackson Bice has been a part of, and I think this is probably one of the most disappointed. I've heard the emotion now being showed by the man, the Bison. Jackson, obviously, man, you do get some share of the money, and you'll finish third. Before I do let you go, sir, please thank your sponsors, and I know you had a lot of people cheering you on in the chat box, too.
Yeah, I want to say shout out to the Jack Shack for letting me work with them tonight. Would have loved to see the actual team I run with, but it was just me and Ethan on from our actual team tonight. So shout out to them for letting us race. We worked really well together, and we would control the later halves of the race. I want to say shout out to everyone in the chat who was pulling me on. I don't know. Someone said people typically name Jackson sell, so I guess you were right. I did sell. Shout out to my parents for putting me on the sim. Thank you to my grandmother. She always loves watching these races, and thank God.
No, I have to say, a very good job controlling your composure of maybe saying more things than what you wanted to when you didn't. Jackson Bikes, obviously, and I will say this, and you know, I'm looking at the video feed in real time, Chris, and I got to say I kind of follow the same sentiments of Jackson Bice, not taking anything away from Dylan Jones winning the race, but I even thought that there was going to be a big crash like that. They're going to throw the caution, and they didn't. I don't know where the double narrative is of throw the caution, don't throw the caution, big wreck, don't throw it, come to the white. And you got to wonder, Chris, and I don't want to make anybody mad out there, whoever was the race director, whoever made those calls, Chris, but honestly, if they would have threw the caution and it became triple over time, would we be seeing a different outcome of this race with that taking place?
It's really hard to say a different outcome. I mean, anything could have happened at that point, woulda, shoulda, coulda, right? But, unfortunately, they didn't throw the caution right there. I don't know. I had to go back and look at the settings. There is a chance that maybe the session was set up with only one attempt there. I'm not quite sure. They might, but I was told we had 3. But for whatever reason, they decided not to throw the caution at that point. We saw them piling up. I was as surprised as you were at the point. But regardless, that was a decision that was made. We see that. I've disagreed with a lot of decisions in my life over racing, and but unfortunately, you got to live with it. And I understand the disappointment with Jackson. He thought he had the race in the bag right there. He thought we were going to go to caution, and he's just kind of, as Dylan said, Jackson was just a sitting duck at that point. I finished second. I finished third in races I thought I should have won. You just got to come back and do it again, and I'm sure we're going to see Jackson up front of a lot of these races as we go forward.
And by the way, I don't want to make anybody mad out there for VPR, right? It's just a matter of opinion, right? I mean, opinions are like, what, everybody's got one. But I want to say this. Obviously, I thought the caution had come out too, right? I mean, I'm even saying caution's out. We're getting ready for triple overtime. And then our producer, thank goodness, Liam's in our ear, and he's saying, no, they're not. No, they're not. We're staying green. And obviously, again, what a finish. Dylan Jones not taking anything away from that guy's victory. Congratulations to him. I've seen him get a share of bad luck on many occasions, and I feel bad for Jackson Bice as well. There's been many times that the Bison has been in the right place, right time to savor the victory of virtual victories in iRacing, but then there's tonight and a bitter defeat. The thrill of victory, the agony of defeat, even on the virtual world, as we put a closing chapter on the inaugural running of the Daytona VPR 500 presented by Marathon Movers. I don't know if Liam can or not, if he can join us. Liam, if he can turn a mic on or not. He's Liam, I only find it fitting, my friend, to let you chime in, my friend, because I enjoyed working with you today from the duels that feel like was yesterday or 72 hours ago to a long day, no doubt, from working color, play-by-play with me in the booth, and then, of course, technical issues pushing you to a producer, putting Chris Murphy in the color role. But Liam, Ervig, what a phenomenal job, man. Your final take of this race, and enjoyed working with you again, sir. Your final take of this inaugural VPR 500.
I am blown away, absolutely. We had some incredible racing action, and I really thought Jackson Bice had it. That crash at the end, I'm not sure if the reasoning was because the sideways cars were off track, but the caution didn't come out, and that definitely changed the outcome of this race. Dylan Jones had himself a pusher, got the job done, and I tell you what, man, I have lost a Daytona 500 by 3/100ths of a second. I can't even imagine the thrill that's going through his head right now as a winner of a Daytona 500.
It's been a long day, Liam. Thank you so much, man. Liam Ervig, of course, from color to producer, and Chris Murphy, the man behind, of course, DRSN, the Digital Racing Sports Network, covering and color commentating amongst all the long day, the weeks, the preparation. Chris, thank you for having me on the board, on the broadcast with you guys, and your final take of this race, sir. And we put a chapter of probably one of the biggest or longest races you've ever done, I think.
Oh, by far the longest race we've ever done. First off, I just want to say what a pleasure it was working with you today, Wesley and Liam, buddy. It is always so good when we get together. Also, I want to thank Brandon Broadfoot for having us here for this event, and apologize and thank everybody for kind of sticking with us through our technical problems early on. I just not how we want to put things on. We spent a lot of time to try to get this right, but fortunately, we were able to get things straightened out there and bring you the most. We missed a lot of the for early incidents, but we were able to bring all the action there at the end of the race. I'm really happy for Dylan Jones. I've seen Dylan as well as you kind of lose out on some of these races. I know, we got some heartbreak out there, and I completely understand that. We all want to win races anytime you're out there, but it's just been a fantastic day, Wesley. I'm really, like I said, really, really happy to have you here with us today. Really, Liam, buddy, as always, it's such a blast, and hopefully we can get together and do some more stuff down the road. And when we do get ready to close out, Wesley, Liam's got a line for us. So when you get ready to close out, we're going to let Liam have the last word.
Well, I guess we'll let Liam have the last word for, of course, Liam Ervig and Chris Murphy, Brandon Broadfoot. I'm Wesley Outland. We congratulate Dylan Jones getting it done for the inaugural, of course, final race to close what I hope will be my final iRacing in 500 miles until next year. The VPR Daytona 500.
Yeah, you got Talladega coming up.
Hey, I'll do Talladega. I love Indy cars. I want to do the Indy 500, the 600. You guys keep me in tune, and hopefully we'll stay in touch for sure. Thanks to the iRacing and the family and the great folks from the Digital Racing Sports Network. And again, with all of our amazing crew, of course, Mr. Chris and Liam, and thank you, Brandon Broadfoot, for creating this thing and letting me join you guys. It was a fun time for sure. And we leave you now with Liam with final notes to close out our broadcasts from Daytona.
We can't thank you enough for dealing with our technical difficulties. We threw up the graphic for Dale Earnhardt to do a silent lap 3, but audio issues kept us silent for longer than that. And with that, we also missed the lap 16 silent moment, and apologies for that. So we're going to leave off with a quote from Cletus. "Do it for Dale and be like Biff." And a good friend of mine in the broadcast booth always signed off with, "As you guys walk through the streets of life, please don't play in traffic." Take it easy, folks.